Yes. We know we've been slacking. Hi guys, and welcome to a overdue episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam, and forever as usual joining me tonight we have Chemo and Leon. Hope you guys are well. I'm gonna start the show by
What's up, boy?
I'm gonna start the show, Chemo, by basically throwing you two under the bus and blame you guys for the fact that we've not had a show in a while. Chemo out in the desert of the UAE is basically busy with his camel farm, and Leon, don't get me started with Leon. Leon is so under the thumb of his lovely wife Ruth that he's basically James Caan in the movie Misery, and Ruth is Kathy Bates, and he can't even get out of the house. Never mind do a podcast about boxing. So that's the reason. So stop tweeting me, people. How you guys doing?
Well, it is. You're right, Sam. You're right.
Yeah, you're right. It's all Chemo's fault.
You know what? I've been that busy that I didn't even go to see Nas, man, on the MGM
of him and Dan Lim.
To be fair though, Leon, like your first message is always, "I haven't seen any fights," so
yeah.
You're like, you are a bit to blame as well.
But seeing the fights doesn't mean we can't do a podcast.
Well, it kind of helps, doesn't it?
Mate, I didn't even see the Prince in Dubai, man. That's how busy I've been. So it's it's been a little sad, man. But we're back at it, Cam. Fuck it, we're gonna kill it. We're gonna do like a 5-hour show today for people, just to satisfy the hungry fans.
Calm down.
You feel me?
Don't make a 5-hour promise because they'll hold us to that. But yeah, let's start. Let's start it off. This show's not really going to have a structure like the others because we can't really go through every fight chronologically because there's just too many fights to cover. So I thought if we just kind of go around, pick a few fights each, give our thoughts. So, Chemo, you kick us off. Pick a fight and start talking about it.
Well, I'm gonna pick the fight that is obviously the number one, which is Anthony Fowler versus the Madman Fitzgerald. I think it was one of the most anticipated fights of the year, and I'm not trolling about that. And it was a fantastic fight, man. I really, really enjoyed it. It was technical. It was aggressive. There was some drama. And, we all saw what we were hoping, well, except me, would happen, which was Anthony Fowler getting dropped and losing. It was quite dramatic as well, happening in the last round. I like Fitz, man. I think he's I think he's a sturdy guy. I like his stance. I like how he was very compact and tight and just kind of sliding around the ring, with just enough movement to kind of keep him out of trouble in the beginning and then eventually start putting his punches together and, really put a bit of a whooping towards the end on Fowler. What I didn't like, though, was that he kind of just, when he dropped the guy, he just let him off the hook. And he was badly hurt. Like he was those little, skinny legs of his were gone. So I thought, dude, you should jump on him right now and get him out of there. And he didn't. He kind of just dropped his hands and kind of did a little bit of swagger. And then the round was over and that was it. I thought that was a very risky move. How do you know that confidently that you're ahead on the cards? I did not really foresee that. I thought it was still a close fight. And you cannot fucking trust the judges, you know what I mean? And you're fighting in Liverpool where you're fighting the favorite. So I don't really get that. I thought that was a bit strange. But overall, it was a wonderful fight. And I definitely want to hear yourself and Leon's thoughts on this crap.
Leon, you go first.
Yeah, I rewatched it today in anticipation because I'm a dedicated podcaster. Fowler looked good for the first couple of rounds. I thought we might be in trouble, but I think the idea that he would sweeping it, 3 or 4 up. I think he was, it was even after 4 rounds. I thought because he got caught quite a few. He got caught in the third with a solid jab, and I thought that hurt him. And then he got caught with a body shot in the fourth, and I thought that hurt him as well. And he was starting to gasp by in the fifth round, he was blowing hard. And like Chemo said, Fitz just did enough. Like I thought his movement was good when he was coming forward. I think he was technically for a British fighter, he was good close up. And yeah, he just looked like the better fighter technically all round. And but then that 9th round, he took some big shots. But maybe this idea that Fowler has been going on about he's been knocking heavyweights clean out, light heavyweights clean out with head guard on is just a fuck. I mean, he must be one of the most deluded people. Like, I know you've got to have a certain amount of confidence to be a fighter, but I mean, he's on another level. Like, his self-belief is ridiculous. And like Carl Froch even kind of alluded to it in the commentary, saying that he wished he had his self-confidence. And that's, Carl Froch, for fuck's sake, who is a living, breathing troll. So, I mean, if he thinks you're over, yeah. But I mean, I thought Fitz did well in the 9th to get out of that, and then like he landed 4 clean shots on Fowler. So Fowler had been trying to trot out the storyline that it was a flash knockdown. He just took his eye off the ball for a split second. He got stood up by the second shot. I got hit so hard he stood straight up, and that's what left him open. So I mean, yeah, even in defeat he's deluded. So the idea that he's going to learn from this is laughable, really.
What about you, Cam?
I really enjoyed it. The hype before it, like, there's not been that many cards this year. I'm going to get into this in a little rant later, but nothing's really, hyping me up at the moment, fight-wise. And this card did, like, Price was in the kind of... David Price is always entertainment, right? He's either going to knock someone out or he's going to get iced himself or gassed and then get iced. So... Eggington, Smith, we weren't really bothered because we all know that Eggington's basically he needs to retire. So this fight, because of that, they've got the past that they were teammates with Team GB. They've sparred before, they've fought in the amateurs before. Fowler won that fight in amateurs, so there's a lot of needle and a lot of back and forth, and they even made a mini face-off or whatever you call it, faced on the table, and I think after the weigh-in. So fight-wise, yeah, Chemo, you said something to me which was 100% spot on, that at that weight maybe it'll change if he goes up, but at 154 Fowler is a 3-round fighter, because 4th onwards, up until that point, his jab was sharp, fast, accurate, and then after the 4th onwards, yeah, the snap wasn't there as much, the output wasn't there. I don't know if it's just the fact of the weight or Fitzgerald was targeting the body, and obviously that's really going to help slow a guy down as well. So it may be a combination of both, but yeah, first 8 rounds, more technical than I thought it'd be. I thought, Fowler might just try and high guard it, get close and just work the body, but he didn't. He was kind of using his jab from mid-distance and then trying to land the power punches. But yeah, Fitzgerald was excellent. He kind of rode the storm the first 3 rounds, kind of let Fowler gas himself a bit, and then he came on quite strong. The movement was good. The kind of angles of finding the punches was pretty decent, and he rode the storm in that 9th round where he kind of got buzzed and Fowler jumped on him, and then he came back in the 10th and hurt Fowler, dropped him. I agree with you again, Chemo, that he should not have let him off the hook, because when those scorecards were getting read out and one dude had it to Fowler, he thought, okay, he's in Liverpool, he's probably going to get robbed here. It's Sky. Obviously Fowler is the bigger draw really at the moment. He's the more known guy, the guy that they focus more time and energy on. So you think that he might just nick it, but luckily we all had a smile on our faces when Man Fitz's name was read out by Diamante.
Mate, you know what I thought of this. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, this, it's bigger than that. Like, people had high expectations of this guy coming out. Like, he had a 2-minute promo for just turning over. Like, they were banking on him being something that he potentially isn't. So, I mean, this is a massive L for Sky and for Eddie Hearn. This is one of the guys who's going to be his replacements, right? This is his new Frotch or whatever, and it's gone badly wrong. I think it's kind of, it's brilliant and it's hilarious, but I mean, they must have known what they were dealing with, and so the level of hype they put into this thing is ridiculous.
Wow, I still think it was like there was hype, but there was like almost like domestic level hype. You know what I mean? I don't think they were crowning this guy to be like
no, but they were building up to be a solid numbers guy for them.
Yeah. In that city, right? And that's fine, man. I have no issue with that. Honestly, like to me, what I was just happy with is that this was a high level, British level fight. Like when you look visually, at the aesthetic of the fight, it was good stuff, man. There was some really solid boxing going on, and there were like two guys in there that knew what they were doing. And sometimes, we almost use British level as like a negative word. You know what I mean? Like especially people who are just fucking shit. And you watch this as from an objective point of view, and you actually like enjoy the technical stuff that's happening in the ring. I really liked it. One thing I want to add on Fowler is, Cam, I don't know if you noticed this too, but he fights squared up a lot of times. His stance, if you compare it to Fitzgerald, Fitz is very tight, and he's much more like, in a traditional like boxer puncher stance where he's not that easy to hit. And Fowler is, when he kind of squares up a little bit a lot of times, like he's kind of easy to hit, man. Yeah. I think if Fitz was a little bit more daring, he could have done a lot more damage to him, because a lot of times he was quite conservative and he was quite respectful of Fowler's power. And I think that's maybe just the level that he's at. Like Fitz is decent, but I don't think he's a very high level fighter. But I think if he put his punches together a little bit more, he could have definitely hit him flush, man. Like Fowler does not have great defense. He does not.
He is very heavy, flat-footed, man. Like he kind of plods along forward, and
that front foot is really stiff, that front leg.
I think part of it's because he throws the jab so stiff. Like he needs to kind of have a good
solid base.
Yeah, solid base to actually throw and land the jab. So I think that's part of the problem. And I also think that's why he drains so much energy, because every punch is like a heavy power punch. He doesn't really mix up the flow of punches. But Kimo, getting back to...
I was going to say, if you've got someone with any kind of good body movement, you can stand in front of him and you'd be able to just slip and time him quite easily. Yeah, like Fitz did it, didn't he? And he had reasonable upper body movement for a British level guy. So
what worked well for Fitz? The right hand, man. The right hand over the top. Like once he actually discovered it, like that it was working for him, like he couldn't miss with it. I wish he threw it more, honestly. Like that fucking right hand was bang on the money.
Kimo, just regarding the weight issue, like you see Fowler on the scales, he's one of those dudes where you see his frame on weigh-in day, and you can't see why he would actually lose any more weight. And to me, that's really at your base level of, where you should be. I personally think, if he come, well, he will come back, but I think he should campaign at 60 just to have that extra headroom, because I think that is one of the major reasons why his gas tank is so shit.
Yeah, it's probably a combination, Cam. It's partly the weight, and it's also like the tension that he puts in his punches, right? He doesn't look exactly like a relaxed fighter, but when I just look at him in the ring, I mean, there's, like you said, there's no give, in terms of like losing an extra pound here and there. Like he's got nothing on his legs left, man. And I'm pretty sure if he would move up in weight, he could fill out a little bit, man. Yeah. He reminds me of Luke Campbell, man. Like they're just very big guys for the weight, and they seem to like sacrifice, kind of their lower body, in order to make the weight. I think if he would move up and add a little bit of density to his legs, he could take punches better, and he could probably have a better stamina as well. Because, I mean, it does look like a brutal weight cut that he does, man. He does it disciplined, obviously, but I don't know. I would definitely like to see it and see if there's any, if there's any substantial difference. Sometimes guys just need to move up and get a little bit more pep in their step, and they'll be better for it, because he's absolutely shredded at the weight. However, that also means he needs to deal with more powerful punches, right? I don't know how that's going to work out. He doesn't exactly have the best chin in the world. So, that might be an issue as well.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Leon, anything more regarding Fowler and Fitzgerald? If not, I want to kind of hijack Chemo's fight pick just to kind of segue into Cheeseman.
Yeah. One thing, like talking of the weigh-ins, did you Adam Smith's a creepy fucker, isn't he? You seen that video? I think getting an eyeful.
When
it's the greatest thing ever.
Like, I mean, he probably, that is an unfortunate moment. Like, only he could get caught doing that.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that, I'm not being disparaging for him. He was just purely unlucky. He was just badly unlucky.
Yeah, just to give a bit of background in case people don't understand what Leon's talking about, especially maybe people in the States, that Fitzgerald, I think, had to make weight at the second attempt, I think, because he just couldn't... Was it a third? Wow.
Yeah.
And he stripped down butt naked, and when he was leaving the stage, his bum was on show, and Adam Smith was peering at him like a creepy Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, and yeah, man, it was quite hilarious, actually.
It's out there. Check it, find it.
Yep. But, just quickly, before this fight, I actually chose Fowler. I know we didn't really do a preview because we've been off for a while. And I did think Fowler would have enough and maybe just work Fitzgerald's body and maybe stop him. Because when I've seen Fitzgerald previously, I never saw anything special in him, to be honest. I think he's one of those fighters that needs an opponent that really kind of gets him up for it. And if he hasn't got that, he's a bit half-hearted in his fights. And I thought Fowler would probably beat Fitzgerald and hopefully maybe fight Cheeseman if Cheeseman got past Sergio Garcia. And I don't know if you guys saw that fight, but Cheeseman just looked like a fucking idiot, man. He was just... I don't know what was up with him. I think he was just trying to... he was just trying to show too much bravado or what was going on, man. Like, did you see this fight, Chemo, a couple months ago? Cheeseman versus Garcia.
You know what happened? I found some really shitty version of it, I think, on Daily Motion or whatever, and then I got pissed off with the quality. I stopped watching. Yeah. But give your take on it, because I have something to say too, and it's more like self-criticism about what I originally thought of Cheeseman. But go ahead.
Yeah, Garcia, he impressed me because he came out. His volume was very good. His movement was excellent. He wouldn't really stand still for too long to let Cheeseman tee off at him. And I did think Garcia is going to slow down and eventually Cheeseman is going to get to him. But no, for the full 12 rounds, Garcia was just punching and moving. The volume didn't really decrease. His movement didn't decrease. And Cheeseman, he just kept leaping in with wild left hooks. And he just kept doing that thing where he's trying to slip punches with his head. But he was getting punched in the face. And it's like, well, you've done that for the last 5-6 rounds, bro. You're getting punched in your face. You're starting to look like the Elephant Man. Why not go to his body? You can't hope that the guy's going to slow down. Obviously, that happens quite often, just because of naturally you lose energy when you're boxing. But you can't just expect that to happen. You have to, make him lose energy, go downstairs. His head's moving, but his body's not. Beat the drum. But he didn't. He kept just jumping in with wild left hooks, missing with right hands, and he was a mess and a bad state at the end of the fight. And to your point, Guillermo, he makes us look a bit like a couple of bums because what did we see in him? For the last 2 years, it's crazy, man. He made no adjustment at all, and I was very disappointed with him.
I remember the time where I saw Cheeseman fight, and this was quite a while back, but where he was, excellent at cutting off the ring. He was very loose, and he came in with very strong body shots. And I remember, obviously I get a little bit carried away with my hype, but I even called him a British potential Golovkin.
Oh, did you?
Golovkin, I think. That's the word I used. because he was such a seek and destroy guy. Obviously, he was fighting a taxi driver, but you gotta hold your horses with the guy at the moment. Yeah, it was really disappointing, Cam. Like I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've got it on now actually, and I'm just watching it, and I get what you're saying. Like he just looked sloppy, wild, and doesn't really have a sense of direction in the fight. It's quite disappointing, man. And yeah, it would have provided a lot of good domestic level fights for him to go forward to, but unfortunately, we're not going to get to see that.
Yeah, Leon, you got any opinion, or should we move on?
Yeah, no, just quickly. I think, like, Cheeseman, it's a weird story, isn't it, with him? Because it was like the ghost of Ted Cheeseman. Like, we always used to say, does this person really exist?
Yeah, because he was on, like, he was on,
and,
like, untelevised pay-per-views of Joshua, and you never saw him, did you?
And then he kind of came out, started blasting a few people out, and we were like, oh, right. And people got behind him because he was like, oh, Eddie Hearn. We can get behind him, even though he's with Matchroom, because Eddie Hearn's kind of treated him like shit a bit at the beginning, and so he became the kind of, I don't know, like the boxing Twitter people kind of got behind him, but he's let you all badly down.
That's all. You were on the train as well, bro. Don't
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you were.
Fuck off.
The big cheese.
I think
Jamaica
is the head of the fan club, I think.
No, that's Pickford. The pig.
Shay was on the cheese, but go ahead anyway.
Sergio Martinez is doing quite well with his Spanish fighters at the moment, isn't he? Like they all seem to be quite good, reasonable level guys that are coming out, because that was a Martinez guy, wasn't it, who beat him?
I think it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. They've all kind of got his style a bit.
They have? Maybe just only, signs up people that a bit like him.
Yeah, no, but I can get behind that. Like, what will happen with that guy? Like, I hope he does all right. He was quite good, that guy.
Now, Eddie loves a co-promotion, so he'll put him on some DAZN co-promotion out in the States somewhere and try and pick up.
They need all the help they can get.
Exactly. But Leon,
I can't believe you're comparing him to Sergio Martinez, man. Like Martinez was elite.
No, I'm not comparing him. I'm saying he has a similar style.
Not really, man. Just because he's on the back foot doesn't mean he fights like Martinez, dude. Like Garcia was.
But there's a kind of bunch of them who have similar traits. You're being overly. Give me a bit of space with that statement, Kimo.
Are you saying they're like urban fighters, like they're athletic boxers, or what is that what you mean?
I say I can move a bit.
I can move a little bit, all right. I'll take that. They're movers. We can classify them under that.
All right. Leon, you want to pick a fight to discuss?
Well, we should probably just move on to what's supposedly meant to be a big fight. And
David Price.
No, we're not talking about that bum. But no.
Why not, man? We need to talk about him.
Go on then.
I just want to shout out Pricey's press conference, man. That got me fucking hyped up, man. Not even the fight itself. Like that fucking kebab guy was fucking terrible. But Pricey was he just went lit on the fucking presser, man. I didn't expect it. He is one of the better trash talkers in boxing right now, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I hope he fights more trolls, you know what I mean? Because it just gets the best out of him. And to be honest, he looked quite decent in the fight too. He was.
But is this what his career has become? He's fighting kind of low-level troll boxers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it now. That's what he's got, and then he's going to get lit up by one of them. So yeah, that'll be fun.
But he's a great undercard asset. You know what I mean? Like he's always in, like Cam said, he's always in fun fights. And, he's must-see TV.
You want to see a brother die, you're fucking out of control, man. He's
not going to die.
How many more times does he have to get sparked out for your enjoyment?
If he dies, he dies.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow, that's quite brutal, Cam. Okay. Okay, next fight, mate. Go ahead, pick one.
Yeah, well, I was saying, before you rudely interrupted me, with that fucking nonsense... this is what supposedly was meant to be a big fight and was a massive damn squid. Spence Mikey.
Yeah, but Mikey won every round because he waved his hand in the air when the round finished, so he won the fight. Basically.
He's a fucking weirdo, that guy, isn't he? Like, he's a fucking... he doesn't give a shit about his career, does he, really? I just don't see the point. I thought it was mad that people were picking him.
Oh, I want to mention that because closer to the fight, there's a lot of like industry people and former boxers and active boxers now that kind of leaning towards Mikey, and I'm like, what are they seeing, man? Because I'm not seeing what they're seeing. I can't remember the names wise, but a lot of like former boxers and people were picking Mikey.
I don't care how many times Mikey Garcia might have appeared on someone's pound for pound list that they have, like going up that many weight divisions against a guy who is just on the limit of that weight division, who everyone says is really good. Like, what did we expect from him?
Mikey on the scales as well. Mikey on the scales looked like he had a great dad body, man.
This ain't like, this ain't Floyd. Like, he did not look good at the weight. Like, he didn't move through the weight divisions looking good, looking physically good. I mean, like, he looked fucking horrible. Like, that was like a weird kind of John Candy style of diet he used to get up to that weight. Wasn't he? Honestly, though, he was a flabby mess. Which I know is coming from us. Yeah. But he just didn't. His body shape didn't look good, did it? He looked like a small fat guy in there, and I still think he did okay in very brief moments. But it does nothing for anyone. I don't think. Like, Spence did I don't know. I think Leon he did exactly what he should have done, and I don't think he would look that great doing it. People going on like it was a master class.
Leon, was it
a guy not throwing?
Leon, was it an L for Spence not stopping Mikey?
They beat the shit out of him in the 9th. Like, I mean, I don't think that people were saying the towel should have gone in, but I don't buy that shit. But like, he did what he had to do. Like, but Mikey still, apart from that 9th, I don't think like Spence was landing clean on him all the time. Like, Mikey's still a good fighter. You can see that he's still good because he was doing well to survive because he was just there to survive. But there was moments where he caught Spence and landed a few shots when he threw them. There's definitely someone who's the right size. There's a way of getting to Spence. Like, it wasn't a boxing masterclass that everyone seemed to think it was. Like, Spence still missed.
Yeah, I don't
still got touched a little bit, even when even though he threw hardly anything, he still landed on him. I gave him a couple of rounds. I think the 3rd and the 5th, or 2nd and the 5th. The first 2 times he pumped his little hand in the air. Like, I think the first 2 were valid. Like, yeah, that's fine. He won those rounds, but then he started pumping his fist at everything. But yeah, like, Spence is good. I mean, I don't think that's all that was proved. Like, he's a good fighter. But it's a nothing win, really.
Yeah. Kimo, the Thursday or Friday before this fight, you kind of mentioned to me that you were caught off guard by how quick this fight came around, and you didn't know if it was whether the fact that it's just not being promoted well, or looking back now, would you still stick to that opinion that the promotion of it, or was you just busy in your own life at that time and the fight just kind of crept up on you?
No, I did think the promotion. This was pay-per-view, right? So I did think the promotion was very lackluster for this, and obviously it doesn't help that both guys are a little bit vanilla. You know what I mean? Like, Spence is a nice guy, but I think he needs a rival to kind of bring the best out of him. And Mikey is just a really nice guy. He doesn't really have anything bad to say, nor was there any
simple.
Yeah, he's just a very simple dude, man. Like, he doesn't really bring any type of emotion to the table. So I still stand by that. Overall, like, I agree with you, Leon. I didn't see the weigh-in actually, but when in the fight, Mikey Garcia looked extremely out of shape. But at the same time, I know he was in shape because he went to 12 rounds and he did all right. He just looked really flabby, man. He doesn't belong at that weight. I watched the fight today actually without any like English commentary. It was some Russian fucking version of it. And actually, when I just sat and focused on the fight, I think Mikey did okay, man. I think he had a couple of moments in the fight that were pretty decent. His right hand has always been a weapon, and I think he did all right. And let's face it, Cam, he moved up basically as a natural lightweight to face this guy, and he did a lot better than Kell Brook. So that's something. Kell quit like a bitch, and at the same time, like, Mikey hung in there. Yeah, and I think Spence respected him, man, in the ring. You could tell that Spence wasn't just rushing in because he knows Mikey is a terrific counterpuncher, and I think even though he maybe didn't look the part, I think he still punched hard enough to kind of get Spence's respect. What I did like about Spence is, we kind of view him as an inside fighter, and he actually controlled this whole fight with his jab. The jab was a great weapon for him, and maybe Mikey struggled a little bit to deal with the southpaw jab, but it was a very solid boxing performance from Spence, man. I did enjoy seeing that side of him, actually, because we always talk about his amateur experience as well, and I feel like this is kind of where it came to play a little bit, because usually he's just a fucking dog, like he just comes forward and he just smashes people to the body, and here I think the punch of the fight was the jab. So yeah, Mikey, you know what? I do get what you guys are saying. Like, because he went the distance, he felt almost like he had a moral victory. That's why he was putting his hand up every time. Like, oh, I'm in there. I can actually hang with this guy. But there was obviously no fucking sense whatsoever of we're in this to win this completely, and we've actually got a shot, because Spence was pretty much in control the whole time. And we've got a game plan
of what we're going to do. He's kind of in survival mode the whole time.
Well,
like,
Spence beat Mikey at his own plan.
You're like, oh god, this is only going one way.
I noticed immediately, obviously, Leon, that the jab of Mikey was quite nullified immediately, right? He couldn't really get his own jab off, and he started like he didn't really, after the first couple of rounds, like, you could see that Mikey wasn't even throwing it with authority anymore. It was just kind of, he tried to get it in there, but he couldn't, and then there were a few moments where he would let himself go a little bit with the right hand, but that was in very, very small spurts. And
he had to jump in because he was physically just outmatched. So, like you said, getting the jab off is really difficult for fuckers, too far away from you for you to be able to land. Do you know what I mean? He was so outside. He had to get punches off. He'd have to endanger himself every time.
Yeah, and he was willing to do that in a few spots, but not more than that. He said at the end of the day, he's still a conservative fighter. So, I mean, when the fight finished, I didn't really have that much of an issue with it. Like, I kind of enjoyed it, I guess. But overall, like, this fight shouldn't have really happened. And it's a shame that Errol Spence has such great potential, because when you put him with the right opponent, i.e. Kell Brook, you get some sort of magic. There is something about this guy that, he brings something, man. There's a fire to him. And at the moment, like, welterweight seems to just, I don't know, either avoid him or doesn't really have the quality type of guys to, to really build something in his career. And obviously there's one guy that we all want to see. And I don't know if you guys want to touch on that too. Man, Porter, we need to talk about his dress sense as well at one point, because that dude looks like a fucking 1950s pastor pimp. Half the time.
Or a pimp.
But
he looks like exactly. Bad guy.
Exactly, like he slaps around some hoes once in a while. But okay, I would watch the Porter fight, because I know that he'll stop him. I know that. I think he'll fuck him up actually on the inside. Porter will try and maul and clinch him, but eventually he'll get found out, because Spence will find a way in. But the Crawford fight, man, like, I really, honest to God, don't know if we're ever going to see it.
Nah, it's not going to happen.
It bothers me. It's such a great fucking fight.
Get over it.
Chemo.
What do you mean?
We good friends. I love you, daddy. But let's get it on.
Exactly. I love you, daddy.
Do you think a Thurman fight, Danny Garcia fight, will kind of, a couple more fights will just sit in front of the fight with Crawford and, drag us on another 3-4 years?
You're desperate for that Garcia fight, Cam, aren't you?
I want Garcia to get ice.
Get badly smashed to bits. Cam fucking all over that
me
fight.
Too.
Oh yeah, no, that would be quality, because to see Danny's dad's reaction.
I think Garcia's got a tough night next week, but we'll get into that later against Granados. But just getting back to Spence, I don't really give my opinion. I haven't really got much to say. I didn't have that much invested in it beforehand because I did think it was a mismatch, even though I'm a big fan of Mikey. And to me, the fight was pretty one-sided. I don't even think I'd give Mikey any rounds, to be honest. I may be wrong.
Oh, no, there's a couple in there, man. There's a couple there.
I think I'm mentally switched off halfway through. You know, when you just like stop giving it shit when it comes to like the 7th, 8th round. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, before the fight, I was kind of like gauging opinions on what type of numbers this would do, and a lot of people kind of thought like what Crawford and Postal did, or what Golovkin was doing when he was first on pay-per-view, or what Kovalev Ward first did, you know, like 100, 120, 150, you know, that type of number. And most people thought that, and they've not officially released numbers, but from what I read, a good source came out and said about 360, 380, which I thought that's pretty good, man, for, you know, Garcia, like Kimo says, is quite vanilla, people don't really know him, and then Spence is not really the biggest name out there. I know they've tried to, you know, kind of get back up from the, you know, the Dallas Cowboys, and the fact that he used to play football when he was younger, and he's a big fan of the team, so they've tried to, you know, gain popularity that way. But yeah, I think 360, 380, just under 400k was pretty good for that fight. What do you think, Kimo?
No, that is pretty good, actually. I didn't even know that. I'm surprised they did that many. Because honestly, this sounds to me like a fight that does like 20,000 buys or something, you know? Like, yeah. Honestly, like I don't really. Yeah, that is quite impressive, man. So who do you think is actually the draw here? Like Spence? I don't really think anybody knows Spence, man. I mean, we should ask our American compatriots, but Garcia is like nobody. I don't think anybody really knows him outside of. You know, the West Coast. He did fight in New York a couple of times, and there was a decent crowd. But yeah, I think both guys really don't have any appeal. But anyway, that's good news, man. Look, at the end of the day, like, I just want the best for Spence, man. I think he's exciting. I think he's an excellent fighter, and given the right circumstances, I think he can be funny as well. Like, he's got a bit of that redneck mentality, you know, with the accent and everything. I thoroughly enjoy that. And I want him to start talking a little bit more.
Cross eyes is good to go for redneck.
Does he have that?
Yeah, he got a slightly cross wonky eye. That's always strong in that kind of southern redneck kind of vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, it's man. I just want to continue to watch this guy grow, and I want to see him fight often, man. I don't want him to sit out for a whole fucking year waiting for another opponent. Honestly, it doesn't do anything for anybody. Like,
but who can he fight?
To see this guy. Well, he can fight Danny Garcia or Sean Porter, first of all.
Pacquiao was in the crowd.
I wouldn't even mind seeing him beat up Broner, man. I don't care. I just want to see him active. That's the thing. But
Broner,
I want to see...
Lols.
But that would be entertaining, though. Imagine him beating the shit out of Adrien Broner. I would watch that. I'm just saying. Like, who else is there, man, in the division?
Pacquiao was in the crowd. I think he tried to invite him into the ring. Thurman... Garcia.
Never gonna happen. Aram will not allow that, man. Never gonna happen.
He's not with Aram.
Pac?
Yeah,
no.
Not anymore.
No.
Who's he with now?
Free agent,
PBC.
man.
PBC in it. Yeah. He fought Broner.
I don't think he's... Regardless, though, I don't think he's gonna fight... You think he's gonna fight Spence? I don't think he would ever fight
He was in
Spence.
the ring. Wasn't he in the ring at the end, or was he just there?
I think Pacquiao next. Is he going to... Personally, I think he's either going to fight Spence or he's going to fight Thurman. And I think Thurman more likely because of the WBA.
Yeah.
Mate, if that actually happens, I respect that a lot about Pac. But I really do not see that happening, man.
It's a weak division, you know. It's a weak division now.
What about Keith, man?
What about Keith?
I want to see Keith, but Keith's been ducking him for years.
Yeah, but still, man, like Keith is, I don't know. So Keith struggled with Josecito Lopez, man. We need to talk about that as well.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I think Keith knows. Keith is a smart guy. He knows that if he gets in the ring with Spence, it's trouble, man.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's gonna take that fight either, man. That's the problem.
You know who's going to take it? Like, Khan will jump at the chance. Once he's got iced by Crawford, he'll have a warm-up fight, and then he'll be in there with Spence.
Yeah, but you gotta respect that.
Yeah, being a human pinata. Yeah, you gotta respect that.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about getting iced by Crawford, man? He does excellent against southpaws, bruv.
Yeah, but, you know, there's southpaws and there's Terence Crawford, man.
Did you watch the documentary from BT on Khan's Coming Back Stronger?
I'm not actually seeing it. Someone sent me a link, but I'm not going around to watching it. Like, there's only so much of Khan you can watch until you have to switch it off.
Nah, man, it's still in you, Cam. You can't take that shit out of you, man. You're a Khan's army for life.
Nah, man.
Sworn in.
Sworn in, exactly.
I went AWOL.
He's got the beard and everything, though, man. He's in beast mode right now.
All right, are we all done on
fucking wrecked?
Are we all done on Spence versus? Are we done on Spence versus Garcia?
What?
Are we all done on Spence versus Garcia?
Yeah, it was just basically just a slightly better GGG Brook Canelo Khan, right? The guy was slightly better, but it's the same deal.
All right, let's move on. I'll pick a fight to discuss. I want to talk about the rematch between Kovalev and Alvarez. After the first fight, I did say I thought that, you know, if these guys fought 10 times, like, one guy would win 5 times, the other guy would win 5 times, and yeah, I was kind of right, man. Kovalev adjusted pretty well under Buddy McGirt. I don't know how much, you know, when you get to that stage in your career, you know, how much does a new trainer really affect you? But, you know, he was kind of listening to McGirt's instructions, keep it simple, straight punches. Like, Kovalev's always been good, like, with the heavy-handed, just like 1-2s, 1-2-1, reverse 1-2s, and it worked excellent. And I just think Alvarez got caught in that trap where, you know, after that first fight, he thought he's a puncher now, and it just seems like he was waiting for that counter right hand over the jab, and he just waited too long, and he wasn't active enough, and his trainer, Mark Ramsey, in the corner, even though he was like French, you could tell him he was like shouting, "What the fuck are you doing? You're throwing this away." And just really poor, disappointed performance from Alvarez, and I think he's going to look back at that fight and think, what the fuck was I doing? We see it quite often when, you know, guys get knockouts, and in the rematch they're just looking for that big punch. It's not even in the rematch. We see it with power punches when they just fall in love with the power and they stop boxing and just look for those one shots. And yeah, it was a disappointing performance, but Kovalev's back in the mix. Let's just hope though, like, they're not just going to have these intermediary fights where it's insignificant, no one cares, kind of what's going on with, you know, Bivol and Beterbiev. Like, they're fighting, they're active, but they're not really fights that anyone cares about. So let's hopefully we can have some unifications. You know, Gvozdik's out there, Bivol, as I said, and yeah, get these fights happening. But what did you guys think? What about you, Leon, first?
Yeah, no, I thought he did well, Kovalev. He kind of just went back to what, like you said, he just went back to what he was good at, which is kind of slightly like long distance. He's a kind of a long fighter, isn't he? He'd rather throw punches from distance, and he just did that and kept like disciplined. Yeah. And Alvarez just fell into thinking, "Oh, I can get to him." I can, like, exactly what you said. You summed it up perfectly. And I don't think that was... Yeah, Kovalev was as good as Kovalev can be, really. Like, that's the fighter he is now, and he just kept his head for once. This time, you know, didn't get, you know, like, emotionally fall apart like he did versus Ward and against this guy last time.
Yep. Kimo?
Yeah, to me, the story of the fight was Kovalev's demeanor and his kind of very calm attitude towards everything. I thought he looked very relaxed in there. He looked very calm as well, very stoic. You didn't really see a lot of emotion on his face when he came in, and even in the ring, he was just sticking to the basics. And like you said, Cam, the 1-2-1. I like when he like finishes up a combination with the jab, you know, because it gets that rangy little lever at the end, and it works very effectively for him. I thought Alvarez was very lackluster, man. I don't know what it was. He didn't look right in there. I don't know what the fuck was going on. He maybe he got discouraged because he couldn't land that one punch. I don't know what it was, but he didn't really look like a motivated fighter in there. I was I was quite disappointed because the first fight was really fun, man. Like, that was great to watch. That was some high-level drama. And this was just kind of meh, like it wasn't really an exciting fight. But it surprised me, man. I'm honestly, like, I think we've all been guilty of kind of painting Kovalev as as a bit of a mentally weak person. A lot of people actually, also because of his past, have been going at him for this. And I always thought a bit as well that he's a little bit, man. He's kind of like, people use the word bully obviously with him. Like, if it doesn't go his way, then he can get discouraged quite rapidly. And to get knocked out like that, when you're that powerful of a puncher, and then come back and fight such a disciplined boxing fight, I think is actually really impressive. And we all heard rumors about him and troubles in camp, and that he was, not willing to deal with any authority. And in the end, he proved all of us wrong, because he hired a proper fucking trainer, in, as you said, Buddy McGurk, and that he fucking did it. Like, he came back, and he's got a trainer that apparently I think he clicks quite well with. And yeah, I take my hat off to him, man. Honestly, like, say what you want about the guy, he fucking overcame some adversity there, and I think that's a great accomplishment. So just to point out, he didn't prove me wrong, because I was still backing him. So it's basically all of you guys that turned your backs on him. So
yeah, but we also got turned our back on him because he's kind of turned out to be a weird racist who hits women. So that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? Let's be honest. If we're going to call it out on other people, like, I think he might be a proper cunt.
Yeah, I think he's catching a case for that, isn't he? So.
Well, fucking rightfully so, man.
Yeah, definitely. Anything else regarding Kovalev Alvarez?
I read somewhere that Kovalev is also called out for now some sort of light heavy tournament as well. Like, he seems to be like quite motivated, man. Like, he wants to fight everybody. So
because he knows he's about to see time. He's about to see time, isn't he? Get the fights in.
But how long?
I don't know. I've got no basis. So I just made that.
Maybe him and Pulev can kind of train each other in prison, man. It'll be fun.
All right, Kimo, pick another fight that you want to discuss.
How about Pulev versus that sushi reporter, man?
That's crazy.
Fucking hell, eh?
I'm not walking down that path.
He's a creep.
Yeah,
man. He's a creep.
I'm so tempted, but I think we should tread lightly on that subject.
All right, pick another one.
Jesus. Okay, let's talk about James DeGale versus Chris Eubank Jr., mate.
James DeFale, you mean? James DeFale.
James DeGale. What an unlikable motherfucker this guy is. I remember watching the build-up of him, obviously being surrounded always by his gorgeous sister, but there's something about him, the way he talks and his demeanor, that I just cannot fucking stand. I just really don't like James DeGale. I've never liked him, and I never will. And, I almost gave him a little bit of a chance, seeing that he was in shape, and Chris Eubank is very flawed. And correct me if I'm wrong, Cam. I think I picked actually DeGale. I think I did, yeah. And he basically is completely done, and he retired after the fight, rightfully so. He just doesn't have it anymore, man. And we've said many times, like, the amount of wars that this guy has been in unnecessarily has just taken its toll. And for Eubank to come out of the gate and just hurt this guy straight away was pretty shocking, in my opinion. And, from then onwards, it was just a downward slope, man. Like, he cannot box properly anymore. He can't take a shot anymore. He doesn't have that, as Hamada said one day, like, DeGale was punching hard. Like, he was fucking punching pretty solidly at one point, man, in his career, and now it's just nothing on it anymore. He's as close to a shot fighter as you can be, and I'm glad he got, at least sensible enough to just call it a day. But he did give Eubank now a signature win, which is quite interesting, because Eubank has now revived his career, as ironically, like he's back. And
Kimo, can I interrupt you and ask you? Like, a lot of people are praising Eubank's performance, but I don't really see anything different. Did you?
Fucking hater.
Man, it's hard to say, to be honest.
No,
I did see
nothing.
him. I did see him box a little bit more sensibly, maybe, but not enough for me to like draw a conclusion out of it, man. Like bit more of the jab, you know what I mean, here and there, but it was minor improvements, something.
He's basically improved like a fight would improve just because they've been through a camp, right? Like he's just getting a little bit better every time because he's been doing it longer, but he's not making any big new style changes or making any big leap forward, I don't think.
The thing is, Cam, I've seen this happen before with Eubank. Like, he doesn't fight the same style in every fight, right? I've seen him fight one of the lower level guys and then like pop with the jab. And I'd be thinking like, oh, this guy has a little bit of skill. And then he fights like Saunders and he acts like a retard for 12 rounds, you know, swinging from the fucking hips. So I don't really trust this that much, man. Like, when you hurt a guy that early on, you know, everything's kind of working in your favor. So he feels loose. He feels, you know, mentally stable in the fight. So it's hard for me to say, man. I want to see him in adversity, you know, because, for example, when it was George Groves, like, he didn't know how to adjust. He just got fucking pasted.
He was fucking terrible that night. I mean,
yeah, it was terrible, man.
He was better than that this time round. But I think that might come from confidence of him, you know, having success, like you said.
Exactly. He hurts. Man, when you drop the guy that early on, like, you're obviously going to be very confident. And the fight was always going his way, right? So there was never any need for adjustment. Like, all he had to do was just keep doing what was successful. So I didn't see anything. What about you, Cam? Did you see any improvement?
Honestly, no. I think the fact that DeGale kept kind of going back in straight lines, and every time he was getting hit, his head was getting popped back. It just made it look like, you know, he was hitting him with big power punches. But I think it was just more DeGale snapping his head back, trying to avoid the punches that, you know, made it look bigger than it was. And yeah, he was still at times still shooting from the hip. Like, I didn't really see any improvement. I know he was training with Nate Vasquez for that fight, and Vasquez came out today, this week on Boxing Scene, saying he doesn't think it's ideal for Eubank to be like always swapping trainers, because I think Eubank's been up in the Bay Area training at Virgil's gym. So that's just typical Eubank. No, I don't think he's ever just gonna have a trainer that he stays with. I think it's an ego thing. I think he'll never have someone stable.
Yeah, I like that about him. Like, at least he's doing something different. Like, at least he gives them reason to moan, but it's not just about him becoming a boring matchroom fighter. You know, at least he's out there just fucking around, like walking up and down Brighton Pier with his shitty little belt on. Like, I mean, it's funny. At least it's like there's something there. There's fucking storyline to grab hold of. It's not just some boring Eddie Hearn backed up by Eiffel TV kind of storyline. You know, we should embrace that. Encourage.
I mean, we've always embraced it, but I still want to see something behind that, right? I don't mind that he's a troll, but when he fights like a fucking. When he fights a stinker like he did against Groves, like, it just, I mean, nobody's really getting anything from that, man. Like, I want to see a little bit of adjustment, but
I don't know. I mean, Senior still had the sheriff's badge on, and really, that's enough for me.
That is pretty genius, yeah.
Yeah.
The sheriff's badge.
So good. Such a lunatic.
Just quickly, like, what would be an ideal next fight for Eubank, do you think, Kimo?
An ideal next fight for Eubank. Jesus Christ. I hate to say it, but I would watch the Saunders rematch. Given how much Saunders has now gone downhill, like, I think Saunders would be motivated because obviously he's fighting his nemesis and he would have to get back in shape again. And I don't even know who the fuck he is fighting now. Like, he's fighting, I think I wrote it down somewhere here.
Oh, the big one.
Shefat Isufi? I don't even know who that is.
The big stadium fight.
Oh God, the big stadium fight.
At the Stevenage ground.
Cam, I do think those two are made for each other, man. Like the thing is about Eubank, like I don't need to see him. He's not the youngest guy in the world, by the way. So I don't need to see him face anybody like that is not relevant. He doesn't, in my opinion, like he's never going to be great. I don't need to see him in any like title contentions or eliminators or whatever. I just want to see him in money fights. And for example, this fight was perfect for him, right? It doesn't have any relevance. However, it's versus a guy, you know, that he has a history with. And this is why I want to see him versus Saunders. I think those two are made for each other, man, in terms of the fucking drama. They just gel really well at pressers and shit like that. So I would love to see that, man. And there's money for both of them. And it's a comeback fight as well for Saunders, you know what I mean? Who has really, like, fallen off. Like, Jesus Christ.
You know, I want to see him fight a Darrell, either Darrell or Peter Quillen.
Nah, like...
Quillen,
definitely a Darrell.
Seriously for me, I know David Benavidez wants his title back, so he'll probably be fighting Anthony Darrell soon. But I'd love to see Eubank versus Benavidez, man, because Benavidez is quite stationary. He's there to be hit, but also
you get iced.
Like Eubank, he's got kind of fast hands, fast combinations, and I think that'd be like a war, you know.
He would walk through Eubank though. Eubank's still small for that division.
No, but he's got a good chin though. He's got a decent chin.
I think Benavidez combinations would eat him up, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
I think that's a bad fight for him, dude.
You're probably right. To be honest.
There's the John Ryder, Rocky from Stocky.
Jesus Christ.
Who wants that, man? We don't want that, bro.
Oh, yeah. Again, as long as the sheriff badge there, I'll watch any of those fights.
You just want the sheriff's badge.
Oh, God.
He could fight Willie the Worm. He's moved up.
Willie has moved. Man, I didn't realize he's still active even. Jesus. I don't know.
That division, I know I've said it before, but that is a fucking wasteland of a division still. Like, if genuinely, I'm looking at you can't really trust box recs. Like their top 10, right? But when Fielding's at number 5, so they got Rocky Fielding at number 5 in the super middleweight rankings, but I can't find a way to get him outside of the top 10. That shows how bad that division is, right? Like I can't find 5 fighters to put above Rocky Fielding.
That's
listed in the top 20.
That's not good.
He's not good.
That is no bueno.
I mean, they've got Bramer at fucking 12 still. Yedlin, who I thought beat fucking that Anthony Darrell, he's at 13.
Crazy.
But I guess Plant, that's the other guy, right? He should be...
Plant.
Yeah, I guess he's there for fights.
Well, that's a good segue, because I did want to kind of talk about Plant. I thought he performed excellent against Uzcategui. Just a classic fight we see often, you know, a boxer versus a puncher. And, yeah, he wasn't stationary, kept moving, kept combinations, upper body movement was excellent. And Uzcategui, you know, just fell in love with his power, just looking for the one shots and just let the fight get away from him.
It was nothing like his performance against Darrell. Like, it was very strange to see. But maybe
it was like Plant, a different person.
Yeah, like a different guy. But Plant did really well.
Yeah,
so you got to give it like he get knockdowns as well, you know.
He did, and it's a shame though because he went from like the ecstasy of becoming a world champion to the agony of his mother passing away. I don't know if you guys read a couple of weeks later that I think his mum was getting some medical help from an ambulance, and as the ambulance was driving, she became agitated, pulled a knife from a bag, and then they stopped and called the police, and then a deputy sheriff came and she went towards him with a knife, and then he shot her, man, and she passed away.
Fuck.
Yeah, really? That's fucking crazy.
That's fucked up.
Crazy, man. So condolences to him and his family, man. But I do think she had some issues personally from what I read, but I'm not going to say it on there. But yeah, it's a shame, man. But yeah, he Plant's in the mix, and yeah, his performance was really good. And like you said, Leon, that's just super middle, man. Like it's a wasteland, you know. Benavidez shouldn't really need to be fighting Darrell for the title. Like Darrell shouldn't even have that title. I know Benavidez had it, and he had that whole problem with the coke and all that shit. But It's just, I don't know, man. How DeGale got another world title, is ridiculous. Against the guy that Eubank iced, a couple of years ago or last year, it's crazy.
I mean, he was bad in that fight. Like, I've never believed in him. Like, I've always said he's like the equivalent of a British level fighter over there in the States. Like, I never thought he was a world level guy. I don't know how. I mean, that Yedlin's like European at best, and I thought he beat him, no? Or was at least really in that fight. But then they found another fucking way out. I mean, unbelievable. That fucking family, man. How many fucking controversial fucking fights do they want to be involved in?
That's what they live for, bro.
It's just them, man. Like, there's no more excuses. It's them. Like, it can't be everyone else's fault. They're just always in something.
All right. You guys, anything more regarding the super middleweight division or DeGale versus Eubank? I do got one more thing to say if you guys haven't.
Yeah, go for it.
Carl Froch is just amazing, man. Like, we got George Groves retiring, DeGale retiring, and also Lucien Butte retiring, and Froch is just cobraing them all on Twitter, man. It's just amazing.
Such a prick.
He's amazing.
He knows what he's doing, though. He fucking gets it. He must be. He's pure troll.
He's amazing, man. Like, I
wouldn't be surprised if he's got someone writing those tweets for him and he's not really involved. He's like got some.
He's almost like a character now. Like, he's like the Alan Partridge of boxing or something. Like, you know what I mean? He's just like, he's amazing, man. I love to see regularly check on Carl's tweets to see what crazy shit he's saying.
Or see if he's retweeted any more EDL fucking messages. Brexit,
like you said,
Brexit. Sorry.
Cam, like you said, he has become an absolute fucking caricature. But you know, at the end of the day, like I never really liked Froch, but he is a bit of a winner, though, man. Like everything kind of just seems to work out for him. You know, like he's got his job at Sky. You know, half the time he's commentating on somebody that he iced. You know what I mean? Like he's
got his new nose.
Yeah, he's got his new nose. You know, like he's just done well for himself, man. And a part of me does respect him a little bit. You know, as much of a dick that he is.
We all see a bit of ourselves in him because we would want to do the same. We all behave like that sometimes on Twitter. Like he gets it. He knows what.
But he's. In the beginning, I thought he was just salty, right? But now he's taken it that far that it actually becomes funny.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's not doing it half-assed. You know, in the beginning when he would just like take a little poke at George, you would be like, "Come on, guy, just let the guy enjoy his, his moment." And now it's like he's gone that far that he's just like, "Man, you're just a fucking troll at this point." Like I can't even like not crack a smile because it is pretty funny. The famous moment where I think he's with Floyd, right? Where he's talking about knocking out people in front of Floyd Mayweather. Like, it's just, man, the guy is just ridiculous. But yeah, he's done well for himself, man. Much respect.
All right, let's move on. Leon, you want to pick another fight?
No. I can't remember what else have we had.
Okay, that sounds like someone that's not done his research. I'll pick a few though if you're not. Let's go with Manny versus Broner. I don't think we'll spend much time on it because Broner he's just shit. He's so negative. He just wants to survive, and then afterwards, with the ridiculousness about him, winning the fight and then talking shit to my boy Jim Gray, man, how dare he? But yeah, the guy's just a joke now. Like, the fact that he's getting these big paydays for these big fights, this needs to stop, man. No one cares about Broner anymore. He's not relevant. He doesn't try and win fights. He's just a waste of space.
But the thing is, like, it's like I couldn't believe people didn't think this was the only thing that was going to happen. Like, it's like they look back 5 years to him battering small British fighters and think with his fast combinations and standing there and thinking that's who it is, and like forgetting what's happened to his career in the last 3 or 4 years. Like, when did we ever think he was going to lay a hand on Matt? Even this kind of becoming washed up Manny.
But again, it's like
he did nothing, and he's not willing to, like, at least in that Maidana fight, he stood in there and went to it. Now he just wants to survive everything, so he's not even giving us the pleasure of him getting fucking iced. You know, it's just survival mode for 12 rounds. He did the same against Garcia.
But it's the storyline of boxing at the moment. We're getting these fights that nobody wants. Like, who was actually happy when this fight got announced? Everyone's like, wow, what the fuck? Pay-per-view for Broner versus Pacquiao. Obviously, Pacquiao is still a big name, but, you know, Thurman, Spence, you know, give us one of these fights, something for us to get our teeth into, not fucking Broner. Like, no one cares about Broner.
But like you said, we would care about Broner if he was going in there to win a fight, but we know what Broner's going to turn up now.
Yep.
Like, if he was willing to lay it all out there, we would think, look, and everyone's always says that he is a tough bastard. Like, he can hang in there, but he's not even having to be a tough bastard because he's just avoiding being involved in a fight.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're so negative and like you're not throwing anything where you may get counted, and you're just completely on the back foot doing nothing, yeah. Well, it's easy to not get hurt or not get knocked out. You know, like what are we supposed to give him props for?
What risk is he taking?
Yeah. What
risk has he taken in last 4 or 5 fights? I mean, none really. You know, he hasn't dared to be great at any moment in that fight.
No, I mean the guy is just mentally a wreck. Like everything about him. If you look at what you hear about his personal life, if you look at the way he fights in the ring, nothing is really going well. And honestly, like his last 7 fights have all been the same. It's all been no volume, no output, doesn't know how to punch with his opponent. Like it's just the same shit over and over and over and over again. And it's just become old at this point. And even with that fight, I can't really tell whether that was like a Manny who's still in a top contender in the division, or was it just fighting Adrien Broner and anybody's gonna kind of look okay versus that, you know? Because Manny was just on cruise control the whole fucking fight, you know what I mean? Like there was nothing happening that threatened him, and he just did his thing and won a decision. That's it. So I don't know. I still believe that Pacquiao is a formidable opponent, you know, and that's man, we don't really give that enough credit, to be honest.
He's still a very good test for all those guys at the top level, I think.
Well, I think on a good day he can still be a champion, man. Like and when I say champion, I mean like real champion. Like he still has a lot of fucking fight left in him, man. Like obviously he's not the same Pacquiao as before, but his skills, his boxing ability, you know, he's still got a bit of footwork, even though it's not, you know, obviously that incredible, you know, stuff we saw back in the day. But for his age to still be in there with you know, top level guys, I mean, it's very commendable.
There's only one guy who's ever made him look really bad, and that was the guy that people, you know, is Floyd. And whatever we say, he's one of the best fighters. He's in the talk, isn't he? He's one of those. He's a fighter of a generation, and that's Leon, the only guy that's ever made him look bad.
Well, there's 2, Leon. The guy that knocked him out as well.
No, but he didn't look like he was in a fight then. He got sparked being involved in a fight. He looked technically not up to it and old against Floyd.
It was a shoulder, though, man. It was a shoulder, bro.
I know. But, you know, so that's what you're dealing with. That's the guy we're dealing with. He might have lost some fights, but he's always been competitive in every fight apart from that one, as far as I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Always. He's never really been outclassed by anybody.
So the idea that Keith Thurman suddenly turns up and walks straight through him is laughable. The only guy you think would put him in real danger is Spence.
And Crawford.
And Crawford.
Now, you know, I think
people think about Crawford because he's stuck out there, isn't he?
I think style-wise, like, I want to get to this fight as well, but if Porter goes back to his bull rushing head-forward style, I think, you know, Horn had a lot of success with it against Pacquiao. Pacquiao just doesn't like a guy like bull rushing him. So.
Fuck Porter. Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, Porter doesn't deserve to fight Manny Pacquiao.
No, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying that's a fight that Manny would struggle with. But
We're saying fuck you, Cam. That fucking shit.
Chemo, pick another fight.
Of past fights, man. I mean, let me think.
Struggling.
I honestly don't even remember.
Oh no! Come on, I've got a topic.
Did we talk about Warrington Frampton in the previous show ever?
Yeah, bro, that was last year. I told you that.
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't have anything.
What's yours?
Can we? Let's give it a little time up. The Yarde. Let's talk about this guy.
Yeah, but that's not a relevant fight. That's just me getting fucking pissed off.
All right. Well, fucking you come up with something then. He had a fight recently in somewhere, Cam. I don't know.
No, I got some more fights, and then we can get into Yarde and stuff. But just quickly, Josecito versus Thurman. We touched on it before, but yeah, Thurman as a comeback fight. Yeah, the first early part of the fights, he looked good, man. But to be getting pushed back and like your head getting snapped by old ass Josecito Lopez, man, that was a shit look, man. That was a terrible performance.
It was a bad performance, but maybe it's the kind of fight. It's probably not a bad fight to get hit in. Get a bit of the rust off it. So, he's one of the most frustrating guys around at the moment. But I'm willing to give him, that's just getting back in the ring, right?
Give him a pass.
He was rusty. Yeah? Give him a bit of a pass on it.
Right.
But he better fucking do something. He better do it fucking soon.
Yep. Chemo, any thoughts?
In the beginning, I thought he looked good, actually. He was kind of loose, throwing some funky combinations. But again, once he gets hit, it's everything changes. So I'm quite, God damn it. I like Thurman. Honestly, I like him personally as a guy. I find him very entertaining and likable. But he annoys me in the ring. He annoys me with his excess movement. He annoys me about the fact that he just doesn't know how to fight on the inside, and he does some weird shit always to just his solution to somebody pressing him against the ropes is to just kind of dance around him and walk and try to pivot out and then walk away. And he always gets caught on the fucking when he's twisting out and on
the slide he always gets caught moving
always on the fucking slide. Always, it pisses me off. And
he fucking slides into the punches.
Yeah, and Josecito Lopez realized this as well, and he started winging those long labors of him, and then he got caught a few times. So he always does the same shit, and he hasn't improved that, man. So
but you see that thing that he does there, that sliding thing. That is, Crawford would love that shit, and Spence would love that shit, wouldn't they? They would get that out quick.
Man, he's a very, very flawed fighter. And another thing I don't like about him is he has good movement and he's got good legs. And honestly, we have to give his stamina credit because he is able to do that for 12 rounds. But it's too much, man. You don't need to move that much around the ring. It's excess movement. You're always making it look like you're running away and giving away the momentum of the fight. He needs to stop moving around so fucking much and start planting his feet in a little bit.
He makes himself quite a big target. Do you know what I mean? He seems quite open. His shots are quite wide often. So it's not like he's compact, is it? There.
No, he's not.
There seems to be a lot of him to hit. He's a bit chest forward, square on.
And the thing is, he doesn't have the confidence to fight on the inside, right? You can clearly see that because that's why he moves so much constantly because the fear of being stuck in the ropes and having to exchange with somebody is too much, and he prefers to just kind of bounce around the ring for 12 rounds. And that in itself is kind of negating his biggest strength as well because he has good power, but we haven't seen him use it in ages because all he does is just to fucking move.
And he's got the physical gifts to do the things we want him to do that as well. He should be able to do the things you're saying. He should be good on the inside. He's got the physical gifts to do it. But he's just very awkward when he gets in there.
It's very strange, man, because it's like you say, he does actually possess more power than his opponents. But because of the way he fights, he always puts them on the even playing field because also the leverage on his punches when he's constantly going backwards is not quite the same. So, yeah, he had his moments against Josecito, and he caught him a couple of times. I mean, there were a couple of times where he threw the left hook where I was impressed. He would take a little... Yeah, he would take a little step back and just crack him with a beautiful left hook. Like that I enjoyed. But again, that is a minimal movement, right? It's one or two steps and boom. Not the fucking, like ballerina shit he does for 12 rounds. So
am I wrong thinking he doesn't really have he's not great with straight punches?
Yeah, absolutely.
He hasn't got that kit like that straight right or really, really. There's something about him. It always feels quite wide to me. Am I wrong?
I agree.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Snappy stuff in the middle. Yeah.
No, he doesn't have the Mikey Garcia straight, like punches. He doesn't have it, man. He doesn't. It's all a bit wide and loopy, swinging.
And if he could do it, he's got the power. If he had that weapon, he'd be a dangerous fighter. But that's why I don't think he sticks around around up close, because he's not very good at straight punching, like short punches either. It's always long, wide. I always think. Hey, what do I know?
No.
And he don't like getting hit to the body.
Oh, he hates it to the body.
All right.
Yeah, that is true.
Go on, Kimo, you pick a fight.
Man, I don't have any past fights anymore. I literally wrote down all the fights that we had.
Because we did one and we covered Stevenson. Yeah, I can't remember what else we missed.
Yeah, I've got a few, so I'll talk and you just interrupt me if you guys want to chime in. If not, I'll move on to the next one. So first one, we had it in I think it was late January. It was on Undercard, Linares versus Pablo Cesar Cano, and I was kind of shocked. I know I was speaking to my guy Danny from Vegas, who normally is in the chat, but because we're so obscure with when we do the fights these days, when we do the pod these days, that he's not really been in the chat. But I do kind of conversating with on Twitter, and after the fight, he said that he thought it was bad matchmaking, and I actually don't like. If Linares can't beat Cano, even though Cano is pretty heavy-handed at 140, then what else is Linares going to do? You know what I mean?
Nothing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it was bad matchmaking, and for him to get stopped by Cano in the first round, Cano is he's a gatekeeper, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of high level, more of a slightly higher level one.
Yeah.
But he's still a gatekeeper.
Yeah, so it's pretty bad luck for Linares, and I don't know what he's going to do now. Is he going to continue to campaign at 140? Will he try and, go back to 35? I think he
should go back to 35.
He's in a bit of a limbo, I think. But, I'll still back my pretty boy gang, man. So hopefully he'll come back stronger, Kimo. Next fight I want to talk about is I've got a kind of hate relationship with Alberto Machado because Naota loves him so much, and because Naota shits on my boy Lomachenko, I just have to hate anyone that Naota likes. So Machado had that really
solid stance, Cam.
Yeah, it always it always works.
I mean, it works really.
It does,
because remember the Frampton pick.
Exactly. Machado had that good win over Crolla when he was losing and came back and stopped him, but I've never really seen anything special on him. He's had a few more fights and defended the title, but against Canseo, he dropped Canseo in the first round, but Canseo started coming back and landing combinations to the head, started beating the drum and stopped him in the fourth, and I don't know, man. I don't think a title should be getting stopped by Canseo because I've seen him before. I think Jojo Diaz did a number over him, and a few other guys have kind of beat him quite easily. And I think Machado's trying to go for the instant rematch, which is fine, and I think he'll probably stop him in the rematch. But what I didn't like is some of the excuses he was making afterwards. Boxing scene, he was saying he had to stay in Puerto Rico for the surgery of one of his children, which is fine, that's your children, you have to look after them, but why not give Canseo, just the props and say, the better one won on the day. Don't start saying, I got to Los Angeles 2 weeks late. So instead of an 8-week camp, he did 6 weeks in Los Angeles. And then also that he came to Los Angeles a bit heavier than he normally does, and he found it hard to get the weight off, and basically after the first round he was basically dead in there. Fuck that shit, man. If you're a big dude for super feather, but if you're not comfortable, go to 135, man. The guy beat you fair and square. Give him some credit, man. You guys know my most hated phrase in boxing, no excuses, but, nah, man, no but. You lost. Give the guy props and rematch him and stop him or move on.
That's right, Cam. That's right. Tell him.
Yeah, it has to be done. Javante versus Hugo Ruiz, as we were all disappointed. Even though people thought Mares, is a bit too small to go up to super featherweight, I would much prefer to see that than, Hugo Ruiz, a real small dude compared to Javante, get beat up in, I think, the first round. I think he stopped him. And, yeah, Mares' eyes cause an amazing issue. I could see him maybe retiring soon because he's had eye issues before, and it's not worth it, man. Like he seems to make decent money from his career, and you don't want to go blind or nothing, man. So that fight falling out was disappointing, but maybe it's for the best in the overall scheme of things. Jose Ramirez versus Jose Zepeda was a decent fight. Zepeda started off pretty well. Just kind of outboxing Ramirez. We had this problem with Zepeda just like falling in his southpaw, but when he was throwing the backhand, the straight left, like he leans in with his head, man. And we had countless head clashes. Some of them caused cuts, but just generally, man, their heads were banging around the whole fight, and it was a bit of an ugly fight to watch. And at times, I think Ramirez kind of took it over in the second half as Zepeda kind of got tired, but decent scrap. Second to last, Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr. Being a bit critical of Bivol over the last couple of fights where the opponents are not being great and the performances have been a bit average, but I think he didn't put a foot wrong against Joe Smith. I thought he was excellent. He boxed him well. He hurt Smith a couple times. He didn't get hit that often. It was a kind of flawless performance. As we mentioned with Kovalev earlier, just get these unifications now. Like, issue is they're all on different platforms, different streaming services, different promoters, but I don't want to see him fight like someone that's just crept into the top 15 or top 10. I want fights that are top 5 or, other title lists, man. That's what we need now. Lastly, Leon's favourite boxer, Sean Porter. I thought Yordenis Ugas beat him 7-5. It is one of those fights you could say maybe a draw, maybe 7-5 Porter. I think it was a majority officially, or it was a split. I can't remember. But Porter is in a weird limbo at the moment. I think him and his dad Kenny have taken heart to the criticism about the way
they dress.
Yeah, probably the way they dress, but also the way Porter fights and his bull rushing style, his mauling style, and we saw it in early rounds against Danny Garcia, where he's trying to be a boxer now, but he did the same thing against Ugas, but more periods of the fight, and it just doesn't work, especially against Ugas, who was taller and rangier. He was trying to jump in from the outside, throw some combinations and jump back out, but Ugas was kind of picking him off with counter punches, and yeah, even though I hate his mauling style, I think he needs to go back to it because it just works for him better. It's something that he's done the majority of his life, and yeah, man, this whole trying to be a boxer thing isn't working. And
I do agree with you, Cam. He's definitely, even though we all hate that style, it's a very daunting and difficult style to deal with, right? When you're a fighter and you're going to fight Sean Porter, you're going to deal with 12 rounds of hell. And even though a lot of that shit is illegal, you can't deny that it works for him, it's taken him basically to be a
two-time
top 5
champion
guy. Yeah, and a world champion. So yeah, it's as much as I hate to say it, he should probably go back to that. Yeah.
I lied. There was one more fight. I don't know if you guys saw it. Rosado versus Selecki.
Get the fuck out of here.
Bro, that was a fun fight. It wasn't technical or not, but it was like a back and forth. Rosado's down a couple of times, and then dropped Selecki towards the end of the fight. It was a fun fight to watch. If you guys are bored, man, check it out. It's on Daily Motion. So.
You know what? I am gonna watch it. Gabe Rosado is such a warrior, man. He's
exactly,
such a
man.
warrior.
And you gotta just
watch that Philly blood.
You just gotta watch it for him to just to see his shorts, man. He always has those amazing shorts.
He's like a young Willie Pep.
But that's about it
How
for
many
me.
how many of those fighters do we have in boxing that are so overrated as quote unquote warriors? Like, Jesus Christ, man, our standards have really dropped. Like Arturo Gatti was a fucking warrior. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus. You know what? It's actually on YouTube. I'm gonna put it on while I'm trolling you guys. So continue, Cam.
No, that's about it. That's all the fights I wanted to personally cover since the last show. Obviously, we've had a lot more, but this might segue into a bit of a rant for me. I was talking to you guys yesterday, and we're getting, especially from DAZN and Hearn, we're getting quantity, but we're not getting quality of fights. Like Hearn's pumping out, Tevin Farmer every 2-3 months, but if he's fighting no one good, what's the point? Like Demetrius Andrade fought again recently against the dude that Billy Joe fought in the swimming baths in Scotland somewhere, and the fight was shit. Andrade was just like a glorified sparring session. So, I'm all for belt holders and just top level guys fighting 4 times a year. But if they're fighting nobodies, I'd rather just fighting 2 times a year and fight top 5 guys. It's not about quantity for me.
We're in this weird state. I feel like again boxing is always seems to be in a transition, but this definitely feels like a transitional year where Hearn somehow feels like he's going to get a grip on the USA market, and it started last year, but I don't really see it, man. Like the stuff that's been put on, you mentioned Farmer, for example, like it's this is not going to take boxing to any new level, you know what I mean? Like, and we see it on Twitter all the time where, people like Brian King, they quote the screenshots of the flyers of some fucking random card in a city that doesn't make sense, and it's just a bunch of like C-level guys, especially in terms of their notoriety, and it's just like, why are we, what's really the benefit here? Like, there hasn't been a lot of good things happening, Cam. I don't know if there's anything that you're looking forward to in particular. Like for me, there's a couple of fights. Canelo Jacobs.
Yeah.
Canelo Jacobs, I'm very excited for. Like that is a fantastic fucking guy. Poor Jacobs. Why?
War Jacobs.
Oh yeah. Well, since when are you a fucking Jacobs fan, man?
It's not about being a Jacobs fan.
It's about making me cry, right? That's what it's about.
Yeah. I want to bathe in your fucking tears.
Canelo is too good, man.
I know he is, but
por todos mexicanos.
Little fucking rat of a man. I'm looking. That's a good fight though. Usyk going to heavyweight. That's on. Yeah, they're giving us that.
Hey, this is Carlos Takam, isn't he?
He's very brave, isn't he?
Who beats Takam? I don't know. Yeah, most people.
Well, he's world level, isn't he, Jim? Yeah, he is actually. No, that's a good fight, man. Usyk
doing his thing. Yeah, exactly. Getting on with it.
Usyk is so fucking pound for pound. Like he is. He's a fucking beast, man. It's a great first fight, by the way. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, exactly. You can't discredit that. That's a solid guy. That's the kind of guy that all the guys have to fight, right?
You know what though? I'm quite the opposite. I don't really like that fight. I would have preferred someone else. Like Usyk just got. Takam just got dropped and knocked out by fucking Derek Chisora, man.
Who?
Yeah, but that was a fluke, man.
That fucking big German bum that Fury's fighting. Would you rather he fought him?
I would have fought like White or trying to think who else you could have maybe. Oh,
you got to let him have a little taste.
Yeah, Cam, it's his first fight.
I'm not saying White is good. I think you would beat White all day long, but there's got to be some sense to what he's allowed a baby step when you're moving up into the thing with no weight limit.
No, that's fair.
He's allowed that one. I sound like a fanboy,
by the way.
Just knows his boxing, so he would agree with you.
He's saying Takam struggled with
Gashi. But who does he fight? He's not. The White fight's not going to happen because White wants mega money for anything he does now for some reason. Knows his value all of a sudden.
I have no objections, man. It's the first fight at heavyweight. You know, the fact is he is moving up to heavyweight. That in itself for me is already a breakthrough, and it's not a lot of fighters that do that, especially at that weight class, man, because you're basically, you know, you're starting a campaign where you're facing guys that are your level to facing monsters, man. Like if he ever ends up fighting somebody like Joshua, like May, that is something extremely courageous, and if he's slowly building himself up to that, let him do it, man.
But you know, his next fight will be good. Like he'll take us if he feels comfortable. You know, he'll jump a couple of levels if he can. Like his record shows that.
Cam, let me ask you this: how much heavier do you think he's going to be in the ring? In terms of pounds,
I think he'd be 210.
And you can say stone if you want. I really don't care. But
so like, what is he goes in at 190 weigh in. So what does he go in at? Like
210, I think.
10, yeah. So he might go to 220.
Yeah. So think about it like this, right? Like he has a certain style, and he needs to test that style out with additional weight, right? Like at the end of the day, he has to get in the ring in order to discover how he's going to fight at that weight. He's very much a guy that's based on movement, right? So I don't mind him getting a tune-up for this, man. Like he's going to be facing a lot bigger guys. He's going to be packing on some pounds and some muscle. Like it's fine with me, man. He's not fighting. What's the name of the guy that's Fury is fighting? Schmidt or Schluger or what was it?
Fucking Tom Stalker for all I care. I mean. Yeah.
Honestly, mate, like the guys that Fury fought as tune-ups they don't even have an ounce of muscle on their body. Like at least Takam is a known worthy opponent. Like
he's got to feel a dig as well. Like he's got to be able to see if he can what it feels like to get hit by a guy that size, not just someone who's a big puncher straight away. Like you've got to feel that weight and see how it affects him, how he does his thing, right?
I think it's fine for a first fight, man. It's not like he's in the lower weight classes and there's a difference of a few pounds, you know what I mean, in a weight category. It's not, man. It's a lot more than that. So he needs to do this right. And you know, again, he could have just said fuck it and stayed at the weight. You know what I mean? But he's gonna dare to be great, and
but the thing,
all take that up.
And they all know he's coming. Like I'm not saying he beats them all, but they all think. Like, oh, they all expect him to come quickly for them, right? He's going to be on the hunt, isn't he? So it's just intriguing. He's brilliant for this division because look what's happened. Look at the fights we've got now off the back of the end of that year, you know. We need another guy who's going to mix it, get in there and be a real test and potentially be a star. You know, I mean, look at what we've got coming up. The 3 fights from the 3 top guys, right? Look, no one would be happy with that, really.
Yeah, I mean, Wilder is fighting Brazil. I mean, I don't think Brazil is that many levels above Takam. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, is Brazil all of a sudden now an elite level guy? No, he's not. He honestly isn't. And who else have we got? We got fucking Fury shit in the bed as well. And then we have AJ. I mean,
against that mess, though he's quite fun, but I mean, I quite enjoy what he's got. He throws some punches, but you know, AJ's going to smash him, isn't he? Really?
I mean, we don't really know how good Big Baby Miller is, honestly. Like, this is going to be a big test for him, and he is a big dude. So I'm quite curious to see if he can land anything on Joshua. And when they were facing off, by the way, I was surprised. I thought Big Baby was like a lot smaller in terms of height.
Short, stocky, yeah.
Yeah, but he's actually not that much smaller. I thought he would be much. I thought he would have much more of a significant height disadvantage, and I actually didn't think it was that bad. So I'm quite curious on this fight, actually.
But look where we are. That actually might be the most intriguing fight out of all 3 of them.
Yes, I would agree.
So what the fuck? And he was getting slaughtered for that, and then these 2 fucking miss an opportunity to make him the C guy. In that AB, like in top 3, make AJ the 3rd guy, take away all his momentum by fighting again, and they fucking screwed it for money. They did it like Tyson did it for money, which fine, that's what he wants to do. I think Wilder then is reacting to what Fury's decided. So I kind of feel like it feels like it's more leaning towards Fury wanting this fight, before fighting Wilder again, personally.
Yeah, guys, I'm looking at the photo again of the face-off. Honestly, Big Baby is really not that far off of Joshua. I don't know what the measurements are in terms of their height, but he is not fighting like somebody who's that much smaller than him in terms of height. And he is a thick motherfucker, you know what I mean? So
if he can take a dig, it could be fun. But I mean, I'm expecting AJ to beat him, but again, I think it's the most intriguing fight. So they've come from getting shit on to having the best heavyweight fight in this first quarter of the year.
Yeah, plus there's a bit of heat as well there, you know.
So they fucked it. I mean, this is not me praising AJ, it's me criticising the other two for fucking their opportunity, it seemed like.
So what was actually the issue with this? Was it just they couldn't come to an agreement on the split or the contract?
I couldn't work it. It wasn't clear.
It's really strange, man, honestly. And it highlights to me, again, just how weird these guys are, man. Fury will do something that's completely fucking crazy and surprise all of us, and then the next time he'll fucking shit the bed again. It's so weird, man. The guy is just all over the place. And you can't go from fighting Wilder, not having the fight happen, and then fight some bum in fucking nowhere. You know what I mean?
Chemo, it's like it's like they went through that fight and then didn't realise, what we need is each other to make it this big. Like, they suddenly thought, I'm the star, I can do it. Like, felt like to Tyson, like, well, I can be a big name, I'm the biggest name in heavyweight boxing in the US. But it's like, yeah, but you need that other guy.
Yeah.
Like, to bring it out of you. This guy isn't going to do anything. You'll just wander around the ring, jabbing this guy's head off for 12 rounds and win easily.
It's crazy because we were, like, heaping so much praise on Fury after that Wilder fight. Well, we're heaping praise on both of them, but more Fury, and it's crazy. We don't get a rematch, and then he goes off and signs with ESPN. Like Kimo says, yeah, he's making money, set up his family for the rest of his life. Fair enough. But it's infuriating, no pun intended, but heavyweight boxing takes one step forward and two steps back.
Yeah, man, that is exactly how to sum it up, Cam. Exactly. One step forward, two steps backward. And you have the top three guys, again, not fighting each other. It's just, there is so much potential in this fucking division. And then you have somebody who used to be like the so-called road warrior, like Dillian White, who all of a sudden woke up as well and is like, I'm not going to fight anybody unless I get like 20 fucking million. You know what I mean? Like,
and ducks a load of other fucking cunts as well.
What is going on? Like, these people are deluded, man. They do not realize how much money they're leaving on the table. Like,
and meanwhile, back in the UK, we've got fucking Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown as a headline fight.
Oh, Lord.
Fuck me.
Oh, Lord.
But honestly, I mentioned it last time. The morning after that Wilder-Tyson fight, the BBC website, which is kind of a good gauge of where a lot of people get their sport from there, right? People who are kind of mildly interested in sport. Like the first 8 stories were all about that fight, Cam. The whole front page of their website. That's one of the most visited sports sites in the world. Yeah. And they had that. AJ hadn't done that. Maybe with a Vlad slightly, but this was like, there was a lot of, content on there. Everyone's favourite new word. And the story was on there for like a fucking week on there for a couple of days. This new fight, He's in
fucking everybody was talking about this fight. Everybody. Like, I had people texting me everywhere I looked. It was Fury Wilder. Oh, heavyweight boxing.
And all the fans were buzzing. We were all behind this shit. Like, everyone was like, yeah, fully on board. Go for it again.
Mate, heavyweight boxing has this X factor that just draws people in. And they did a fantastic job in the ring. And then they just throw it all away, how big a fucking well-promoted rematch would have been. Like, I honestly do not understand it, man. It's for what, man? Like, for what? You could have made so much fucking money.
How much did he sign for ESPN for, Cam? 80 million?
I'm not sure the figure, to be honest. When I heard about it, I just kind of switched off because I was so frustrated.
Surely they must have been able to get halfway to that after this on pay-per-view. They must have been able to make 20 million apiece, you would have thought, for the rematch.
Yeah, plus like extras as well.
Sponsors would have been pouring. That would have been the easiest, job for a PR person to go and get sponsors for that next fight. Like, I can't believe. Like, I think there's potentially more money for them to make going straight into this. Like in a one-off fight, he could have got close to that. I think with all the extras. So I mean, it might not be the best business decision.
Anyway, let's move on from these fuckers, man, because there's actually some pretty decent fights on the horizons. Are we going to do previews, Cam, or are we still reviewing old shit? I'm losing track a bit here because of these cunts.
Yeah, we've done reviews. I thought this is a little space where you kind of guys just talk about anything. Obviously, we've kind of covered heavyweights, but I want to talk about other subjects where maybe we touched upon DAZN. I just wanted Leon's.
Sorry?
No. We'll have Yarde as well, but Leon, seeing as though you're Mr. DAZN, like, I wanted to talk to you about, this new pricing structure that they're implementing. Is it a bit of desperation? Just a bit of background. Obviously, they've had this $9.99 deal, cancel any time, and I think they're going to move to a deal where it's either going to be $19.99 per month, or you can pay $99 for the year, so that'll be the 12 months. And to me, Leon, it just seems a bit desperate, because it seems like they want everyone's money up front, so they got a bit more in the war chest, or a bit more back, maybe to cover some of the expensive that they've been, splashing out, and all the people that they've been recruiting just to get a bit of money back. Like, what's your opinion?
I don't know anything about that deal, right? Like, nothing at all. But I would say that they are an expanding business behind the scenes in my part of what I do. So, like, they're not shrinking; they're expanding, and I think their war chest is very, very deep. So I think that deal is just maybe their marketing people trying to get more people, because the subscribers hasn't gone very well in the US so far. But I mean, they are propped up by big numbers in other parts of the world. I think when we talk about it, people seem to concentrate solely on the US, and they've got other stuff going on. That is not DAZN is one part of a big company. Like, there's lots of wings to it. So I think they're all right, Cam. Is what from my experience, I think they're okay.
Kimo, a question to you regarding DAZN. I read that Hearn's UK cards have not really done well on the app in the States, which we kind of would understand because people don't know the fighters and also the time zone difference. But if things keep going that way and Hearn keeps on putting on these mediocre cards where Jesse Vargas fighting Humberto Soto that nobody cares about, and Quigg's fighting TBA, they haven't even found an opponent for him yet. Do you think that DAZN might limit his war chest and kind of, put him on probation? Because if Oscar with Canelo and maybe Munguia and a few other people are getting better figures, it would make sense to give maybe Oscar more money and, reduce Hearn's money. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, but mate, why? I don't know who's thinking that people would watch UK cards, but that, like, as far as I know, and I know quite a lot of American boxing fans, who's really interested in UK cards, like, apart from the real big fights? Like,
I don't think DAZN think that's what's going to break America. I don't think they're that, because they see that as like bonus that they're getting UK cards.
That's fair, Leon, but I don't think Hearn's American cards are going to break America at the moment.
No, shit, man.
They certainly have, but like, I think they're in it for the long haul. So I think they will lean. If Canelo Jacobs does well, like, and I think they'll focus more and more on Usyk and Canelo, and Hearn will be expected to come up with the goods and make that money they've given him work, and he hasn't done so far. I think they chose the wrong partner. That's their issue. Like, it takes a while to build a channel like that, but they've got a track record of making it work in other countries. I just think they got Hearn because he was available, right? He was there, and they thought they wanted AJ. They thought AJ could break America for them, so they just went with him because they could get him easily. They couldn't get Premiership football and these other sports that they have in other countries. So Hearn was there, available, and they know he's fucking, whatever you say about him, he's willing to work really fucking hard. So he was easy get for them.
Chemo, seeing as though, DAZN have Canelo now, recently acquired Golovkin, even talk about maybe Vlad coming back for a fight or two. Do you think...
WK?
And GGG?
Yeah.
They're building a decent... If you took the zone as just a name without breaking it down into individual promoters, they're slowly building a half decent roster there.
Yeah, but it's not really Hearn, though.
It's just the opponents is going to be the problem, right? So they've got they're getting good A sides, but they're people to challenge them. I mean, Jacobs Canelo's worked out.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't think like Hearn's not bringing much to the table. He might be bringing AJ, and he's got a little deal with Usyk. But how do we get good fights for them? That's their issue.
Yeah. Question to both of you: if DAZN hadn't picked up Golden Boy and Canelo, do you think AJ would be fighting in the States against Miller? I personally don't. I think it's a desperation move that Hearn needs to get, more subscribers, more views on his cards. And
fighters,
this is going to help.
Yeah.
Because, I think last year, Matchroom put out, like a social media post that, Wembley will be hosting AJ's next two fights. But obviously, that's not happened. So,
but I think I just add one quick thing there. Isn't it nice to see a channel that's actually willing to have a couple of promoters on their channel rather than just having one channel, one promoter?
Well, HBO had that for years.
Yeah, HBO were, but they're not there now. But the other ones, Sky over here, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, but they still need to work together in order to fucking make it work.
Oh, absolutely. But, it's only, I sound like a terrible, I've taken the money, but, I think they're trying their fucking best. I just think Hearn was the wrong partner. I'll say it again.
You do sound like that, man. But we all know you've sold out.
Chemo, it sounds like Leon's a bit worried that, some partners from DAZN might be listening to this pod.
I told them in the card that Hearn's cards have been shit. The people I've spoken to.
Yeah. Go and do your fucking promos for AJ, mate. We all know what the deal is.
All right, Chemo, shall we give the floor to you to discuss Anthony Yarde versus Sergey Kovalev possibly, and what his trainer Tunde Ayaje had to say about that possible matchup?
Yeah. Just quickly, Cam, on the previous thing. I also I don't know the business intricacies, obviously, as Leon does, because he's an insider now, right? But I don't know whether it's an Eddie Hearn problem or a DAZN problem, but lately I just feel like we're not really getting good matchups anyway. So this kind of gets reflected on Hearn and the whole DAZN thing. Like, in general, are we really seeing good matchups in boxing lately? No. Not really, right? No. So
across the board,
this is going to play out like that in itself anyway. Anyway, so to get back to what you were saying, so this is my understanding of it. Anthony Yarde is currently in quote-unquote negotiations with Team Kovalev for a fight, right? Yes. Are they in negotiations or are they just talking? Supposedly, okay. I say
they are.
And this fight will take place where? I've heard of this in Russia, correct?
Well, the Russia thing will be insane. That'd be amazing. If he took the fight and accepted it and went to Russia for it, I think you'd have to give him some fucking credit. But yeah, the last thing was the promoter, Kovalev's person, Cafe Du was saying, if it happens, it will happen in Russia. If they win it, it happens in Russia. If they win the person.
If he fights Sergey Kovalev, we will do a show, and I will I don't know what I'll do, maybe eat my own hand or something, but I honestly do not believe that will ever happen. How is this guy gonna go from fighting the local fucking barber to fighting one of the killers in the division? I do not believe it. Kovalev punches hard. Kovalev is a terrific boxer. We've all seen that. and Yarde hasn't faced anybody even remotely fucking close.
Kimo, I agree with everything, all of the above, yeah? But, call me crazy, but if that fight were to happen, I could see Yarde having success if he just went, you know what, I'm not going to aim for this dude's head, I'm just going to aim for his body, because we know Kovalev hates it to the body, and Yarde does carry decent power.
No. Sorry. He's going to be eating jabs all fucking day. I don't see him. And Cam, even that is irrelevant for me. I don't believe anything from this fucking team, especially after seeing that IFL interview. Which, by the way, if that is fucking English, then Jesus Christ, man. Like, I don't even know what language these people are speaking. But
that sounds ridiculously racist, to be honest.
How is that racist?
You fucking lunatic.
Jesus fucking Christ, mate. I'm not even a native speaker, and I speak better English than that. Come on, mate. Seriously. Anyway, these guys, I mean, that trainer, what is his name? Tungbu what is his name?
Tunde.
Is he really his head trainer? Like, I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you have that guy as a head trainer? Like, he is utter fucking delusional. And all he keeps talking about is, like, greatness and, when you finally get in the ring. And I heard even Muhammad Ali being dropped a few times. I was like, wow, these people are out of their fucking minds, man. Honestly, man. Like, I truly despise everything related to Anthony Yarde. I don't believe he's going to take this fight. I hope I'm wrong. Honest to God, I hope I'm wrong. Because he will probably never come back from Russia if he does. But I don't believe it. Who is this lad, man? I do this every fucking show, and I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go to his box rec right now,
Tradition.
And we're gonna talk about this fucker's resume, right? Because
let's do it.
Because he is absolute. I mean, who is Travis Reeves?
Some old.
Who
dude.
is this guy?
Some.
This is an American guy that he fought in fucking London, you know, and he knocked him out in 5 rounds. Walter Gabriel Sequeira, Darius Sek, Tony Averland, Nicola, is that a chick? Nicola
Sejloko. That's his best win.
Yeah,
he was a super middleweight guy. Let's never forget that.
And then there's like 2, what are these, Hungarians or something? Norbert.
I like Norbert.
And Richard Briani. Obviously, that's his best win, Richard Briani.
Yeah, your favorite meal.
Cam, man. Come on. Do you believe that this is going to happen?
You know what? I think some shady shit will happen. Like, it's WBO, you know. Frank's going to get on the blower. They're going to figure out some weird fucked up strategy with the WBO boss because he's chums with Warren. And I don't know. This court case is happening with fucking Kovalev. He'll probably somehow get stripped, and then Yarde will fight some bum for the vacant title. That, you know, I've called it here and now.
Fucking hell, mate. You know what? That probably fits more the overall picture. Well, what are your thoughts, Leon? I need to calm down for a moment.
I just think it's unbelievable how he's even managed to get himself into this situation. I mean, I know I always say people sound like that, you know, looking back at old times, but like he hasn't had a British level fight. And we want to see you fight the domestic guys to work out where you are. And you look at previous resume, and like he fought a few Brits, but they are fucking garbage. Let's be honest, fucking garbage. So look, let's have a look. Like there are a few fights there for him just to prove like he might be better than all these guys, right? He might be able to beat all these guys at British level, but let's fucking see it before you start chasing whatever we say. Like that guy is still literally a fucking killer. So, you know, why you'd throw your guy in there like that is beyond me without him getting tested. And then you all hear all the stories about him not fucking sparring. And we all know there's that other story of him, you know, what happened to him in gyms, in sparring. So, I mean, what chance has he really got? He could fight. I mean, look, Callum Johnson, any of these guys. Who else is there? Shinkwin, like Burton, Kurt Garvey, like any of these guys to work out. But even Bob, I'd rather him fight Bob Adjusep, like one of these guys.
If he
to
beats
find out what he is like.
Leon, if he beat Bob, Bob would be his best win.
Yeah, but let's see him beat Bob before we go after a fucking guy whose only losses are controversial ones to someone who, a lot of people consider as good as fighter as Floyd for this generation of fighters. That's the guy he's lost to, and then he got iced off a guy who can punch his fought at world level. Like, what has Yarde done to put himself in this position? He hasn't tested himself. He doesn't know he's ready for this. They cannot tell he's ready for this off the fights he's had. And if he's not sparring, or he doesn't spar, how can they see, like, if you're sparring really world-level guys and you're doing really well, your coach might think, oh, actually, we've got something here. He's got a shot at beating one of these good guys. But that's not even happening. So, like, where they get it from is fucking beyond me. And how he's allowed to be in this position is beyond me. His route to a world title fight is a fucking joke.
You know what this reminds me of, honestly? Like, it's to me, this is a publicity stunt where they're pretending to make the fight, and it's shedding a bit of light on them, and they're having fun with it, obviously. Yeah, get Coogan to come down to the gym and have a bit of fun and have a bit of banter, And by the way, Cam, whatever I said was not fucking racist, okay? Seriously, these guys can go fuck themselves. But like, it's just bravado for nothing, and it reminds me of Eubank Golovkin. That's what it reminds me of, because Eubank was the same, where they start talking smack in the media, like, oh, we're trying to make the fight, really we're going to be great. Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, they'll come out like, no, you know what? They didn't really want to do this, and the stipulations and the contract, and they're going to end up fighting Richard Briani's cousin. You know what I mean? Like, this is what's going to happen to me. Like,
but it's annoying because then he might fight, taking a half-decent step up at UK level to fight a good guy. But he said he's going to fight Kovalev, so then he's going to get shit on for having a fight that actually does test him. Do you know what I mean?
It's kind of lose-lose.
Yeah, it's a complete lose-lose for them. They're fucking morons. Fuck them.
They're not going to take the fight, mate. Who's going to go? Look, who has done this in history? History always repeats itself, right? Who's gone from fighting Travis Reeves to Sergei Kovalev?
I can't. It doesn't make. Yeah, there's not many stories I can think of.
Who has done this, man? He is jumping from not even domestic level to world level. Like, who has he fought, man?
He fought fucking nobody.
I mean, nobody. Look at the title. Look at even the title progression, right? At least with AJ, when he jumped to world level, at least you saw a progression in the title, right? He went from winning the British Southern Area light heavyweight title to winning the WBO fucking European light heavyweight title from Richard Briani the next time, and then he proceeded 8 times to fight for an intercontinental bullshit fucking title against nobody that we ever heard of. Has he even fought a top 10 British opponent? Like, has he fought a top 10 British guy? Has he been in a fight like Anthony Fowler was last weekend, for example? No, he hasn't, mate.
The only thing you say is that Serge Locker was a top 10 European fighter at super middleweight, but about 8 years ago. So, like, and he hasn't got stopped that much, but he still landed on. Everyone got very overexcited about that win, saying, "Oh, because I think it's the first time he'd been stopped or stopped so quick." One of those things. But Serge Locker, as an old dude, let's see how old he was. Fucking was landing on him. He's fucking 40. He's 40 years old.
He's 40 years old, and he lost Sakio Bika, Arthur Adrian, Callum Smith, Tyron Zoiger, Robert Strickland.
So he's lost to European level guys at a division below years before he was stopped by Yarde. So that is his best win that doesn't look good. It's not a great win.
It's nothing, mate. He fought at super middleweight, man. Like, come on, man. This is ridiculous.
Nothing.
But Anthony Yarde is absolute scum. absolute fucking scum. And his trainer, man, that guy, like, somebody needs to fucking bitch slap some sense into him. I thought even Dillian White in that interview was, like, disgusted by him. Like, he was like, mate, what the fuck are you on about? He's like, we're going through it together. It's the trainer in there as well, you know. We sacrifice a lot and blah, blah. And I'm like, what is this guy talking about? Like, unbelievable, man. Unfucking-believable.
He might have taken a step above Tesco Joe.
No, but at least Tesco Joe kind of pretends to be a serious trainer, you know? Like, this guy is the biggest yes man I've ever seen in my life.
He's a hype man.
Yeah, he's like... He's the man. I cannot believe that this guy will be good for your career, because he's whispering in Yarde's ear like, mate, you're gonna be fucking great. You're already a legend, mate. Oh, look at the hand speed. Look at the Instagram videos. Oh, you're the fucking best. You know what I mean? Like,
what did he say in the interview, that he's a global Adidas kind of person, and that's why he should be the A side. He's got a global brand.
Oh my fucking lord.
You know why? Because he manages them as well, so, you know, he'll be getting percentages of that Adidas global partnership.
He's like a character, like a snake oil salesman, like a character from a western who turns up with a magic potion that will cure you, like a tonic, and sells it and rips people off and fucks off to the next town. He's a charlatan.
He is indeed. All right, let's move on. You guys got anything else you want to
By the way, who's worse to listen to, them or like an Anthony Fowler interview? I can't tell.
We're judging shit on shit there, aren't we?
Oh, mate, I love the UK, but you have some shameful people in your country, man. Anyway, I'm John Cam. I'm fuming. Anything else?
Yeah, you need to have a glass of water and just calm down a bit, bro.
Man, I told you this would happen
after
I watched this interview. After I watched this interview today, like I just lost it completely, mate. The worst thing they could have done, like, I already despise these people, right? But the worst thing that they could have done is then start pretending that you're gonna take a top 2 level fight. You know what I mean? God fucking damn it, man.
All right, let's get into some previews then. Leon, you kick us off.
Stop saying these people, man. Go on, Cam.
Leon, you kick us off tonight in LA. We got my homie, Vasily Lomachenko versus $1 million Crolla. It's early hours for us. It's normal time for the States, but I'm surprised this is on a Friday.
Is it tonight?
Yeah, it's on tonight, mate. It's we got
easy now.
We got 3 cards tomorrow, so I don't know if ESPN knew that there were 3 rival cards on the Saturday, or they just intentionally set it for the Friday night. But it is tonight. And what do you think of the fight, Leon?
It's just, I mean, what can you say? I mean, this is a fight again that no one asked for, and no one's looking forward to.
Mandatory though, mandatory.
Well, look, that's so. No, like everyone would like. So when it all came out, and then the new thing that boxing journalists and fighters do is like say that people on Twitter are attacking Crolla for taking the fight. It's like no, we're attacking the powers that be that let this fight, you know, that had the circumstances where this fight can actually come about.
100%.
That's our issue.
100%.
I don't give a fuck about Anthony Crolla either way. Like, it doesn't matter his argument is he's earned his right to be there, and technically he's right. But we don't. But fans of this sport we see beyond that. We look at the level of a fighter versus, because it's not about, I always say it's not about fighters, it's about fights, about making the fights, and this is not going to be a test for Lomachenko. He's in a lose-lose. You know, if he looks bad, like, that's fucking as bad as a loss. You know, like, because no one sees Crolla winning this fight, but if he makes hard work of it, it's just going to make him look even worse. Like, nothing to gain from this fight. He's not making big money. It's just, he might as well dump the belt. Like, we know who he is. Like, people who know the sport, follow it, we all know what and who he is. So him having the belt doesn't mean anything to us. But I guess for the promoters and stuff. They need it for TV companies and all that stuff. So we are where we are, but he should beat the fucking shit out of him. Like, really, he should, like, you know, pick him apart in 4 or 5 rounds. And so no one's attacking Anthony Crolla for this. No one has ever, you know, no, it's not about that. It's about the fact he's been able to get there without being fucking tested. Exactly the same argument. He's failed before. Like, you don't just you got to go back to the beginning and prove yourself again. And none of the people he's fought are anywhere close to being on the level of Lomachenko, so he hasn't tested himself. And we know he's not good enough.
If Lomachenko looks bad against Crolla, like, in my mind, that's impossible. The only way that could happen is if his shoulder, which he had surgery on, his right shoulder, plays up and he has an issue. Because otherwise, like, Crolla is ideal for him. He's going to stand there, high guard. Lomachenko's going to step into the right, step into the left, shots to the body, shots to the head. This should be like exhibition shit, to be honest, for Lomachenko.
Oh, it really should be, because, like, you know, we've seen Crolla, we've seen him at his peak of his powers, and, you know, he worked really hard to get where no one's taking anything of that away from him, but he got beaten up by Linares twice, like,
and worse the second time,
winning minimal amount of rounds. So, you know, we've seen him at his peak. Like, it's not good enough. Like, you can worm your way to this position. And Lomachenko should batter him.
And Liam, what were you talking about to me about Crolla and his conversation with his mom or something?
Some fucking puff piece on the BBC website talking, you know, they're pumping him up. And it's just like, you know, his mum asked, I mean, I think we should list this under the category of things that definitely did not happen. Like, this story I don't believe happened. But supposedly his mum was at a fight with him, and Lomachenko was at the fight, and his mum asked him why he didn't want to get a picture taken with him or get his autograph. He's like, "Oh, that's because I want to fight him one day." And it's like, well, no one believes that happened, do we? Does anyone believe that happened?
My mum's my best mate.
But why are they all so? They love their mums in that Gallagher camp.
They do indeed.
My mum's my best mate. My mum's my best mate. My mum's my best mate.
Kimo, what do you think of Lomachenko Crolla?
I just the highlight for me about this whole thing is seeing retweets of these. I feel like I'm taking a shit on the UK today, and I don't want to come off on the wrong foot. I love the UK, by the way, but it's all these English dudes or British guys that are
Billy Brits. We call them Billy Brits.
Billy Brits that are like, well, you know, he's worked really hard in his career and he deserves this shot. You should be supporting him. Oh, he has a chance, you know, like he's got a fucking chance. He's gonna have a proper go, innit? And I'm like, what are you on about, mate? Like, his little body hop is going to get slaughtered, mate. Like, he is going to get pasted. Unless Loma, like, fucking breaks his leg or something. Like, Crolla is just not that good. And when he does his little bunny hop, like, Loma is going to fire off, like, a 12-punch combination on his ass. High guard people he's going to eat them up.
Yeah, it's like working one of those a punch bag for him.
Oh man, it's not
punch bag, really. Like if Joe goes 6 rounds, let's tire him out tactics. I mean, fucking 6 rounds of not doing anything against him.
It's not going to be pretty, Cam. That's all I can tell you. And yeah, it's again, Loma is another one of these guys that I want to see him in better fights, but then people are going to ask me, obviously, well, who would you like to see him against?
It doesn't change how you feel, though, does it? That statement.
No, it doesn't.
That doesn't change anything.
Yeah, I'm still frustrated with it. God, I don't know, man. Who would I like to see him against? Gervonta Davis, maybe. You know what I mean?
That's the one, yeah.
Gervonta, but Gervonta again is become fat and is off the wagon. I don't know what he's doing in his career. He seems to think he accomplished something as well.
But Chelsea,
it's just not
I want Lomachenko.
It's not a very good fight. It's not a very good fight. But you know what? I am going to enjoy it just because the Twitter antics. And Gallagher is probably going to panic at one point. And I don't know if he's going to throw in the towel, but I hope he's got it on standby because he's going to need it.
I hope he's got it on his shoulder.
Yeah, definitely. It's a towel-in job, definitely.
Have you guys read about the glove issue and Tesco Joe?
Oh, he's up to it, weighing the gloves and all that shit.
Oh, yeah. Again? Have you heard about it, Kimo?
He pulls that shit before you know.
So basically, he wanted to look at you know how the teams get to have a look at the opposition gloves and stuff, and if there's anything that they're not happy with, they can mention it to the organization. And basically, he handled Lomachenko's gloves and said they felt a bit light, and he wanted to weigh him on his scale, but Team Lomachenko refused and said they wanted to use their own scale, and they would allow Gallagher to be there. So later on, they weighed it in front of him, and then he was happy with it. But it's just a little bitchy things, man. It's like, Gallagher, man, you're not going to out-psych this guy that had almost 400 amateur fights, man. Your dude's getting beat the fuck up, and he'll probably retire.
But Kimo, it's true. But Kimo, in my mind, he's all like, weigh the glove. He's all like, still pissed out of his head, like day drinking again. I weigh the glove. I don't weigh the glove.
Sounds like Steptoe and Stone.
Yeah, he's just all pissed up in the day.
But you know what the thing is, I can see Gallagher being that deluded where he actually thinks he's being really clever and doing mind games with this team. You know what I mean? Like he thinks like, we're gonna mess with them a little bit because this is gonna give you an advantage. Anthony,
that's what he is. He's the guy in the pub who thinks he knows everything, sitting at the end of the bar.
It's just terrific. Just for that drama, I'm definitely pumped to watch this. It's gonna be.
We would all miss him. There's nothing like a Joe Gallagher fight week. Like if he was gone, like we would be sorely disappointed.
Your life wouldn't be the same.
Like he brings the entertainment. Like whatever you say about him, he is top value. The number of sound bites we've got from him, Cam, alone.
Felix Fitzgerald.
Just that whole camp.
Felix Fitzgerald. Costa Tszyu.
The Costa Tszyu is incredible. That is.
Play that one again, Cam.
Costa Tszyu.
Oh my God!
See, he's good value, man.
Well, I'm glad you appreciate him now. I guess it took some time for you to really see.
I let my kind of hate turn into kind of a blossoming respect.
Well, you know what they say, right?
Things go full circle
between love and hate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm walking that line.
Okay. So what's the outcome, Cat? TKO? What? Towel?
Yeah.
Clean knockout?
I think with this fight we've got to pick rounds. I'm saying about 5. Fifth round. I'm picking 5. You knock him out in 5th round.
I'll pick 6 and white towel.
Oh.
I think he's going to go to the 7 because he's strong, Cam. Let's not forget. You told me as well today that he's got a vagina for abs, right? Going to soak up those punches nice and well.
He's all juiced up, isn't he?
Yeah, he is pretty juiced up.
Yeah, but also like that burglar did hit him in the head with a breeze block, so you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he's taking his licks.
Yeah,
he's taking his licks. I love that.
But let's move on.
I'm taking 5th, Cam 6, Chemo 7 with the knockout or the quit. I've said quit. Cam said quit.
I think Gallagher will panic and throw in the towel.
Yeah. Towel quit.
Yeah. All right.
Towel quit all round.
Undercard fights I don't care about. Ramirez is fighting Carpinci. Why? Mike Alvarado's fighting Arnold Barboza. Why?
Yes. Fight for that.
Alvarado fight week. Yes.
I'm always a fan of Mike Alvarado, by the way. We'll always have a soft spot for him.
Because he reacted to victories like we would react to victories. Like, just go and do loads of drugs.
Speak for yourself.
Right? Yeah, speaking. Yeah. So we all like Mike for that reason, right?
We all like Mike.
Yeah.
I fucking love Mike.
All right, let's get into tomorrow. 3 fight cards: Showtime, DAZN, and Fox Sports 1 all going up against each other. I'll go through the fights, and you just guys say which one you want to talk about. I only really want to talk about one fight.
Cam?
Yes?
1 second before we move on. One thing I just suggest for everybody to do is, if you haven't seen Mike Alvarado's Shadow Box on YouTube, please just do yourself a favor and watch it. It'll make your day. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Was that when he looked like he was drunk before the third
Well,
Rios fight?
He was drunk.
The third Rios
he
fight.
He has the best shadow boxing style ever. Like, it's
that
just
was
great.
The trilogy, wasn't it, Cam?
Yeah, that was the third fight. Yeah.
Against.
But he always
Rios.
shadow boxes like that. It's fantastic.
I never know. I never noticed.
Bradley ice him.
No, Bradley iced Rios.
Yeah, that's it.
But
anyway, continue, mate.
Yeah, the only one I really care about is the Showtime one, Shields versus Hammer. Great names as well, by the way. But I think that's a good, pretty competitive fight. I'm interested to see if Hammer's going to just kind of like pop the jab, pop this right hand, and then try and hold. If she does, I think Shields is going to be that type of fighter that she's going to keep throwing. Even though someone's trying to hold you, she's going to keep throwing her punches. That's the style. She's got that kind of roughhousing style. So I predict Shields to win the fight, but I think it'll probably be a hardest test so far because, you know, Hammer has got decent experience. So, you guys, any opinion or move on?
I reckon Shields will batter her.
You think so?
Yeah, because like Shields is a mad cunt and says crazy shit on Twitter, but I think she's pretty, like, she can fight a bit, like, you know, for that level of stuff. Yeah, I think she'll win convincingly.
What do you think, Kimo?
But Chemo's only thinking about that photograph.
Oh my god, that was. Let me just say she's in good shape. That's all I'm gonna say.
No. Like, for the listeners now, you have to give some background, Kimo. You have to give a description.
The description is, she's. Anyway. No, honestly, mate, I have actually studied this fight today, and I actually enjoyed doing it because for the first time, there's actually a fight that kind of interests me. Like, it's been a while, honestly, apart from the tremendous Liverpool card. Like, this is actually something that intrigues me also because it's kind of unknown, and I don't really know that much about either fighter. Also because, obviously, Shields is very inexperienced on the pro level, right? So I've watched a bit of Shields today, and I watched a bit of Hammer today, and both girls are, you know, they're very for women's boxing. I don't mean to sound like degrading or whatever, but they are. At that level, they're very technically sound, right? They have great names. They box quite well, and I'm very intrigued. It's the boxer puncher who can move. Like, Hammer reminds me a bit of she's got a bit of a Klitschko style, man, where it's a little robotic, but it is very effective. It's not particularly fast either. I think her punches
European
are quite
style.
Yeah, her punches are quite slow actually if you compare them to Shields, but she does have a good, nice, stiff jab, and her right hand is very rangy and straight. It's all down the pipe, right? Exactly. There's exactly the type of thing that Thurman doesn't do, right? Like you said before. So in that sense, I'm quite pleased to see her, and she has that little, she has that little bounce in her step where she kind of sits on the outside like Klitschko does as well. And I do like her style, and I think she might cause Shields a little bit of trouble. My fear is that she's not fast enough, because Shields, when she puts punches together, it can be quite snappy and quick, and she fires off combinations really well. I watched.
Let me ask one question. Like, you obviously watched a bit of it today. How does she match up, like, physically, like, to her, like, athletically and size wise? Is it a fair matchup, do you think? Or is Shields more kind of athletically gifted one?
Well, Shields is a lot. I think is a lot stronger and physical. But I think Hammer will be able to kind of, tie her up and keep it at range a little bit. But Shields has short, crisp punches, man. Like, I thought in some of, because she hasn't had that many pro fights, right? In the first couple of fights, I thought she looked a little wild and crude. And then I watched the last fight where she fought this older lady, and I think that was her last fight, by the way. I'm not 100% sure. But she fucking threw down, man. And she threw down the pipe very, very crisp punches. And that fight actually, that made me kind of made a pick, actually, because I think Shields will probably take this, man. Shields has power, dude. And I don't know if it was just the opponent. And obviously this is an unknown because she hasn't had that many fights. But that fight really showed me, like, this girl can punch, man. Like, and you have this, I've seen this in MMA as well. There's a few girls out there, like Ann Wolf was one of them, that just are different. And they have, like, concussive fucking power. And hang on, I'm just looking at the name so I think this was the last fight against Hermans, the bit of an older lady, German. And you could see that she's improved. You could see that Shields is not as wild anymore, and she throws, straighter, crisper punches. And there's a lot of hand speed in that, man. I really, really enjoyed it. And the girl had no chance, man. She fucking battered her and just eventually stopped her. So, hang on. No, I'm actually saying it wrong. That was not a stoppage. That was another German that she stopped. But regardless, I think there's been improvement in Shields, and I think she will probably win. I don't know if she's going to knock her out, though, man. Like, Hammer looks like a strong girl, man. If you look at her physically as well, like, she is built. Even though she's a bit more lanky than Shields, obviously, like, she is physically strong. So I'm thinking probably there will be moments where she's hurt, but I think she'll survive and probably lose a decision. But either way, I think it's a very intriguing match. And I think Shields, man, I've watched all the promos and stuff as well. I think Shields is a lot more intriguing than people give her credit for. I know she's a bit retarded sometimes on Twitter, and she says wild shit. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have that than somebody with no personality. You know what I mean?
And she said some mad shit. So I do like I mean, if you're gonna back the young uncle, like, that's crazy business, isn't it? So she's clearly off her rocker.
Yeah, Leon just sees her as the long-lost Darrell sister.
Yeah, but look, she's much more entertaining than those fucking two outside the ring. Actually, I'd rather listen to what she's got to say than them two.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with Shields, mate. I think she'll take it.
Yeah, I'll go with Shields, but points, because I kind of disagree with you. I agree with Shams in the chat. I think Shield doesn't really have that much pop, really. Like, she's more, she can hurt other girls, but I don't think she's got, like, KO power. So I think she'll beat Hammer on points just from activity. But it should be a decent fight, hopefully. And the funny thing is, that's probably the best fight on Saturday, to be honest. Like,
the rest is dog shit.
Yeah, Munguia versus Hogan, don't care. Caleb Truax, me, without glasses, versus Peter Quillen, don't really care. Derevchenko versus Kulkai is not a bad fight. Like, Kulkai has kind of drifted up a bit.
He should win that, shouldn't he, though?
He should beat Kulkai, to be honest. But I like Derevchenko. He's a good fighter. But yeah. Shields is probably the best fight of the weekend. So let's move on to the next weekend, the 20th. Terence Bud Crawford versus Amir King Khan. Kimo, you kick us off.
Oh, I'll kick it off, mate. Hang on. My charger just came out. Yeah. Mate, he's done it again, hasn't he? He always gets his way. Amir Khan. What a guy. Somehow he finds himself again in a world title shot against a very, very formidable opponent. I don't know how the fuck he keeps doing it, but there's something about Khan that just, he keeps getting, at least in terms of his management and his fight bookings, he keeps getting success. Now, I like Khan, and I do have wishful thinking that he'll do well in this fight. But given how much damage he's sustained over his career, and given who he's fighting, because at the end of the day, Crawford is, a pound-for-pound level guy, I don't really see this going well for him. I can see him have a little bit of success, and Crawford sometimes is a bit guilty of being slightly passive in the ring, Like, he will be content with outboxing people, and with Khan, I'm not quite sure if he can do that without at least having a few close rounds in there. So maybe the fight will be more enjoyable for us to watch than we think it might be. However, we all know that Crawford has a switch as well, and if he just decides to go in there and beat Khan up to the body and just press forward, then it's going to be a short night for him. I don't see how he survives at this point. I don't think he has the toughness nor the chin anymore to withstand that sort of thing. To be honest, it all depends on Crawford. I don't think we're going to see anything different from Khan. Khan is who he is. He hasn't really changed. I know he's back with Virgil, but it's not gonna be any different, right? So it all depends on what kind of game plan that Crawford brings, and he is quite versatile, man. Sometimes he'll come and box, sometimes he'll come and be on the back foot, sometimes he'll come forward. So we don't really know, which makes this fight a little bit intriguing. But I will be watching 100% because Khan is must-see TV for me.
What do you think, Leo?
Classic Khan, win 3 rounds, get knocked out.
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah, I mean, he'll do what Khan does. Look, fucking absolutely sensational in the first round, second round, and then it'll just get to him in the end. But he always looks good, doesn't he, in the first couple of rounds?
Yeah, when he's got energy.
It's standard, yeah.
When his energy runs away, then he just fucking looks terrible.
Because he is, like, he's good, right? That's what he does. He's really good. So, I mean, it just doesn't have any longevity. It just doesn't last 12 rounds very often anymore.
He should have stayed in amateur, isn't it? Because 3 rounds, you know what I mean? He would have fucking scooped up at more major championships.
But he's in good fights, and again, like, fucking, let's judge it. Let's judge it against other British fighters. Like, it's not about wins and losses, but his resume of who he's fought, people fighting in the same time as him, only Froch comes close.
Yeah.
Really, doesn't he? For the class of person that he's been willing to step into the ring with, look at fucking the people who of his generation who are meant to have been good. Brooke and Gavin, right? They don't even have a fucking eighth of what he's got. And their resume's nothing. So, you know, you've got to love Khan for that, man. He will literally fight any cunt. Like, I mean, I think that's a given now. You've got to give it to him.
Apart from Brooke.
Yeah, but that's not him ducking him. That's just him being a spiteful bastard. So, and that's a personal problem. But you ain't ducking him because he's scared to fight him. He might be scared of losing, but he's not scared to fight him. I mean, look who he's fought. Everyone. So, yeah. I'll be watching him get knocked out again. And, you know, and then he should retire probably. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, I think, you know...
Maybe one last fight over here or something. But,
No, I agree. Like, especially when he comes out with statements like this, he basically said that he would beat anyone on Crawford's resume, forgetting that Crawford's beat Prescott, and Prescott knocked him out. So, you know, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a grain of truth in that.
True.
You know?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, if he didn't have Prescott on his resume, true. Yeah, because
you could beat both.
Yeah, Crawford's resume isn't the greatest, to be honest. But yeah, just my opinion. I said it when the fight got announced and the show we did after that. That, you know, Crawford's a notorious slow starter. Khan will look good for maybe 3-4 rounds. He'll start fading a bit. Khan does have decent, you know, record against southpaws, so I'm interested to see how Bud fights him. Does he come out orthodox southpaw? Does he mix it and match in between rounds? Interesting to find out, but yeah, Crawford's just too good. Khan's on the slide. I think he'll probably retire after this, and that's about it, to be honest.
I think it's interesting
Really?
on resumes, isn't it interesting? Like, Khan's got a better resume than Crawford, but like, I think people with multiple losses usually have better resumes than people who are undefeated. You know what I mean? Because they've often been the B-side a bit more. So
They've dared to be great as well, man.
Yeah. But I think Crawford does get bashed for his resume, and I'm not saying it's the best in the world, but I think there's a lot of fighters out there who are unbeaten, who are like top of their division, who you would question their resume, right? I think you probably name one in every single division.
Yeah. Leon, I've got a question for you regarding pay-per-view. Obviously, this is on pay-per-view over here in the UK with BT. I'm not sure about the price because I'm not paying for that shit. But what do you both think of buys this will do in the States? Like, I'm not. I think someone's put in the chat about.
Is it pay-per-view in the States?
Yeah, this is ESPN pay-per-view. Let me Google it and have a look. I think this is going to be like 100k, innit? Like, could it do any better than that?
7K? It's going to be Postal 2.0.
But Khan is a bit more known. So.
Oh, yeah, a bit more known. Yeah, I mean, but it's not. Yeah, no, yeah, they're about. Yeah, it'll be maybe slightly better than that, but we're not going to really move the needle.
What do you think, Kimo?
I don't think these guys are really going to do that well. Khan has never really translated as a pay-per-view guy in the States anyway. In the UK, maybe, but
not at that time in the morning as well, Kimo. That's the problem.
No. And the thing is, man, Crawford as well, man. Like, Crawford is not a draw, man. Like, honestly, like, I think Spence at this point is probably has a bit more appeal than Crawford. The dude literally has zero fucking personality, and he's just a bore in fucking interviews as well. Like, he just doesn't
I think he's coming out of his shell a bit more now. He's talking a bit more shit.
You really? I don't think
a little bit more.
Outside of Nebraska, I don't think anybody really cares about him, but he's still a great guy. I still fucking love watching him. You remember that HBO documentary they did once on him where they went back to his hometown, they had his mom and his family there, and they did like a 30-minute little segment on him. That was excellent, man. I really wish we could see more of that.
That was it came across well, that story, didn't it?
That was really, really nice, and he's been through a lot of shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to see his personality come out, even though he's not the most charismatic guy. I really, really enjoyed that. Actually, now that I mention it, I feel like watching that again before the fight as a little.
But the thing about it for us, because we don't care about the buys. The thing we like about him is that in the ring, he's trying to be a bad guy. Like, he's there.
Bad intentions. He wants to hurt you.
He's starting to become a guy who likes doing damage, right? And I think we can all. That's why we all like him.
Yeah, he definitely has bad intentions in there. And just to update, I have found prices: $59.95 for SD, so standard definition, and $69.95, so $70 for HD. But firstly, who the fuck watches standard definition these days? Like, you can watch 4K YouTube for free. So these companies need to stop like charging different prices for like SD and HD, man. That's ridiculous in this day and age. It's horrible.
I think only Naota watches SD still, man. Honestly.
Oh, I watch a bit of SD.
No, you're a bum as well. But
I've still got one of those TVs. You got to twist the dial to get the reception.
It wouldn't surprise me, Leon, to be honest.
Jacking old fart.
Anything else regarding Khan Crawford?
No, but those prices, I'll say it does 50,000 now.
Yeah, 60. I'll go for 60.
Yeah. And is it pay-per-view over here? So it'd be like £15 or something over here?
I think it's £20, but let me check it while we're talking.
That doesn't even do that.
Especially at this time, like, I'm surprised.
20,000.
BT are just Leon, BT are just greedy bastards now, aren't they?
They're all the same, man. We always get deluded. We always let them believe. We always let them take us out for the date, right, Cam? But at the beginning, we're always like, yeah, no, they're going to be good for the sport.
The thing is,
we just get fucked again.
The thing is, just
exactly.
For my memory, Sky have only charged pay-per-view at that time in the morning for Floyd versus Manny. If Sky picked this up, it'd be unlikely that they have pay-per-view at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I'll give them that.
But is AJ going to be pay-per-view?
Yeah, good point, actually.
Yeah. No, but they will do it for the right thing. I just don't think this is the right thing.
Yeah. I found the price.
I'm not justifying it, but I think they're thinking, well, it's AJ, we can roll the dice. Wilder versus Fury. Yeah, there's enough intrigue in that, but this is not. It's not got that storyline.
$19.95. So 20 quid.
No. 20,000. Get out of town. I love all this boxing business stuff. It's great. It's really interesting.
Guys, quick interlude. I've tagged you in a tweet, which I think is absolutely fucking brilliant. It's basically a screenshot of, what's her name? Shannon Courtney, where she's saying someone sent her a DM offering £10,000 for my used gym socks. And then next to it, the guy just put a photo of Adam Smith. So good.
Yeah, to see it.
I love it. Just look at the photo, man. It's so good. Classy operator, isn't he, Jim?
On the undercard,
Okay.
on undercard of Khan, we got a few of Bob's up and coming. So you got Shakur Stevenson versus Christopher Diaz, Teofimo Lopez versus Edis Talte, and Felix Verdaggio versus Brian Vasquez. Only one I want to discuss is the Stevenson one because
he's going to prison.
Yeah, you guys have seen that footage of the car park brawl where he was basically beating up dudes and.
It's fucking disgusting, man. That guy was on the floor when he was throwing uppercuts.
Yeah, that's a bad look, man. And I kind of was looking at Stevenson on social media just after that video got released, just kind of seeing what he's doing, and when you've been caught out and you're just trying to play it off and just keep, just like nothing's happened. That's what the shit he was putting up. Yeah, I'm just training here. Oh, here's a picture of me and Terence Crawford. Oh, here's me hitting the bag. It's like, no, mate, you're fucked.
Yeah. You would expect him to get into. That wasn't just a little fight, and it was a bit more serious.
You weren't defending yourself. You were attacking the dude while he's on the floor, man. You know what I mean?
And you're like, it's not a fair fight. You're a fucking guy who trains to fight for a living.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Oh, but wow, I'm watching it now, man.
Yeah, it's
Jesus
fucking horrible.
Christ.
Yeah. Prison.
Yo,
and he calls the guy in to give him a kick.
Do you think? Do you think Andre Ward's washed his hands with him? Because that's not SOG type of activity, is it?
Jesus would not be pleased with that, Cam.
He would not improve.
Yes.
I'll tell you what's quite interesting though. I didn't know. Again, I don't notice things, but that Teofimo that Tatley fight is a half interesting fight for him, because that guy's experienced. He's quite good defensively, moves a bit. That's not a bad. I expect him to win. But that's a good fight for your 13th fight, Cam.
To be honest,
you're a solid European level guy,
I ain't gonna lie, I don't really know much of his opponent, but I think that's a good thing. We'll see kind of Teofimo tested a bit because he's kind of
Have you not seen him fight before, Cam?
Who, Tatley?
Yeah.
I may not have. The name's not familiar.
He's quite he's a tricky fighter. He won't have seen many people fight. He's a defensive guy. No, but it'd be an interesting fight.
I'm looking at his resume. I don't think I've seen him fight before, but it's good, man, because I think Teofimo's kind of feeling his own hype a bit, and I think he needs to get knocked down a few pegs because he's talking about, me and Lomachenko are pay-per-view and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you ain't fought anyone yet. How the fuck are you pay-per-view? Yeah,
exactly. So, look, I think, this is a good test for him. I think that's not a bad card, actually. I quite like that.
Well, it is pay-per-view, isn't it, Leon, so...
That's what you're paying for, but I ain't paying for it.
Same night. This has happened in the past, man. Danny Garcia loves to just troll Khan and fight on the same night. This has happened in the numerous times before, but he's fighting Adrien Granados, which I think is actually a good fight. And only problem is, Danny's just Uncle Al
Good fight, Cam? Really?
Just style-wise, because I think Granados is going to try and sit on Danny's chest and just kind of bit how Mauricio Herrera did it. The only reason I say it's a good fight because I think Granados might beat him. Problem is, Garcia's one of the favourites of Al Heyman, so he always gets the good decisions. So actually, recently though, he lost to Thurman.
So salty, Cam. So salty.
He lost to Porter, so you never know. But I favour Granados in this fight.
Wow, really?
Yeah, man. That's how much I hate Danny, bro.
But look, when has Granados walked through fire like Rob Salker? He doesn't have that kind of resume.
Did you, all jokes aside, did you see Granados versus Porter? Oh, you didn't, Leon. I know that, but...
Oh, no, I did, yeah. That was...
Granados out Sean Porter. He was fighting Sean Porter fights, coming forward, bull rushing, mauling. And if he does that to Garcia, I think Garcia's going to kind of buckle under pressure because he doesn't like that type of style.
Yeah, no, you're right. And he did well against Broner, didn't he? Going back a
Yeah,
while.
but that's fucking Broner, mate. I think Danny Garcia is a bit better than Adrien Broner. I think you're overrating Granados a lot, man. Like, you might hate Danny Garcia just as much as I do, but Danny Garcia is still a, elite level fighter. I'm sorry. He is. Like, I hate to say it, but he is on the top of boxing, you know what I mean? And Adrien, and maybe not at welterweight, but still, though, he still has a lot more skills than fucking Granados, man. Like, I'm sorry. It's no.
Yeah, Danny was good at 140. Like, he was
excellent at 140, man.
Yeah,
He was one of the
I don't
best
think anyone
there.
No one had a problem with Danny until his welterweight period of his career, right? And after, that little run where he fought Sulker and stuff. So before that, he was a good guy, right?
Mate, he was excellent. He was top 2 of he ruled the division, man, at 140.
And he's still pretty much, didn't he?
He's still competitive at 147. It's just it's not his ideal weight, and he got found out quite a little bit especially against Thurman, but Granados is not on his level, man.
Kimo, I don't think he is. I'm not liking all these compliments for Danny Garcia, man. I'm just going to shut you down.
It's not a compliment. You're talking about fucking Granados. Like, who the fuck is that guy?
Just shut down the show, Kimo.
Bro, you'll see next week, bro. When I'm right, and then we're going to do a Kimo special, so you can just, lay praise upon me.
No, man. You're not going to get me by handing me a Danny Garcia loss, right? That's something that I love and I want more than anything in my life. But I just don't buy that Granados is the guy who's going to do it. Like, I just don't see that.
Fair enough, bro. Fair enough.
I think he...
Sorry, Cam.
It's all good, man. I'll just, shit on you when I win, so...
Oh, very aggressive, Cam.
It's got to be done. Let's move on then. Same night in the UK, we have Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown. Fuck that shit. Move on. Next one, 24th of April, we got the Leviathan is back. One Hanger Maniathan versus Tatsuya Fukuhara rematch for his WBC strawweight title. Naota's not on, so we're not talking about it. Moving on to April 26th, Kimo. The return of Juan Francisco Estrada rematching Rungvisai. What do you think of that fight, Kimo? Like, I've always saw Rungvisai as very lethal, but very basic, man. All he has is that kind of lunging and left hand. He's got a decent right hook when he uses it, but he's just very basic, man. I think I heard the first fight a rematch. The first fight a draw, if I remember correctly.
This is a while ago, man, but I do recall scoring the fight at least, or seeing the momentum of the fight for Rungvisai. I'm alright with it. Like, I'm gonna watch it obviously and enjoy it. I'm a big fan of Estrada, as everybody knows, but I don't necessarily know if he's got the style to really beat Rungvisai, man. Rungvisai is just a strong, big dude at the weight. He's got plenty of output. And as far as like his technical capability, I think it's a little underrated. So I don't know, man. I'm a bit hesitant to fucking roll with Estrada again on this one.
What do you think?
I'm not quite sure.
What do you think?
I don't know if stylistically he can do it.
Yeah, I think he's too strong.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, even though like he is a bit crude, like I think Rungvisai is savvy enough in there to kind of not fall into the trap that is Estrada, right? Like, Estrada does well against dudes that just barge forward to him, and then he pulls that Juan Manuel Marquez style where he just fires off combinations on the counter. But Rungvisai is clever enough to kind of avoid that, and I don't know, man.
And strong enough to absorb quite a lot of it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really affect him, man. He's just a big fucking dude, really strong legs as well, and he's technically sound enough to deal with him, I think, man. And again, you had it to draw the first fight, but I thought Rungvisai won that, man. I don't think Estrada was active enough. I thought he was a little bit passive, and I think it's not going to look any different, to be honest. I don't see Estrada making any type of different adjustments in this fight.
Yeah, he kind of is what he is.
It'll be a rewind, I think.
Mm. It'll be close, though. It'll be really close.
It'll be a good fight. Like, the first one was good.
Yeah.
Like, with Estrada, you know, you're always going to get some good technical shit from him as well. So he's great to watch, and the other ones are fucking loves fighting, doesn't he? So
yeah,
it's a good matchup in that sense.
Yeah, undercard wise, decent fight. We have Daniel Roman versus TJ Donahue in a unification at junior featherweight. A stupid fight we don't need. We have Jesse Vargas versus Humberto Soto. I was lying before. Scott Quigg has an opponent. He's fighting Jason Velez. Why? We don't need it. And Anthony Sims Jr. is fighting TBA.
Give us a bit of Quigg, Cam.
You want a bit of Quigg?
Yeah.
My mum's my best mate.
April 27th, headline Daniel Dubois fighting Richard Larty, but it's one of those crappy BT sports cards, so we can move on. Same night on DAZN, we have the return of the World Boxing Super Series after, I don't know, a bit of an awkward silence, man. And there was rumours about, it wasn't going to continue, and lack of money and shit, people not getting paid, but it's probably delayed a season 3 if we have one, because obviously these fights really should have happened in maybe mid to late February, so I don't think we'll get the finals maybe until late this year, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah,
what date is this card on?
This is April 27th in Lafayette, LA, so it's Kirill Relic versus Regis Prograis and Zolani Tete versus Nonito Donaire.
Yes, please.
What do you guys think about both fights? You first, Leon, please.
I think the Donaire Tete could be quite interesting, because Tete has seemed to become a bit more passive, hasn't he? And if Donaire brings it to him, it could turn into a little war.
I think that's going to be a shit boring fight, Tete's just going
Come on, be positive now, for fuck's sake, Cam.
Tete's just going to box him from the outside.
Oh, I'm trying to be positive.
I think Relic versus Prograis might be funny, because Relic has no reverse gear, and Prograis, carries decent power. So
and Relic's been done dirty a few times, hasn't he? Because he beat fucking Ricky Burns all day long.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he won that first one to Buff. He got robbed in the first one versus Bartholomew, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a pretty close fight. Yeah, I thought he won that. So,
but Prograis, he looks like one of those guys who could be very, 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 very good to watch moving forward. He's his career has gone well so far. I like him, so I think he will win that fight because I think he's good.
So who are you picking then? Prograis to go through and Donaire or Tete?
Tete probably, but I think Donaire could make it interesting.
What about you, Kimo?
Dude, I think Prograis is going to beat the shit out of him, man. Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't say he wasn't going to batter him, but I just said Relic's good.
He's okay. I mean, are you really going to take Ricky Burns as a measuring stick here? Especially
for fuck's sake, you as well. I'm trying to be positive about this card. Think of Callum.
Yeah. No. Look, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I rate Prograis quite highly, but it's more of the eye test, obviously, than anything else. As for the Donaire Tete fight, I don't know, Cam, you're you always having a wank over fucking Tete, but I've never been that impressed. Honestly, it's not really my guy. What I am surprised about is just Donaire's longevity, man. Like, holy crap, the guy just never stops. I mean,
yeah, Burnett would have beat him though if he didn't have that back spasm or that back injury.
So what?
Burnett would have beat Donaire if he wouldn't have had that injury.
Oi, Donaire was coming on in that fight. I'm not buying that shit.
Yeah, whatever, mate.
Yeah.
Your boy back quit.
Oh Lord. Anyway.
But then
decent fights.
Does that mean the Scottish? Oh, go on. Sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
So April 27th, same day as the DAZN Super Series card, we have a Showtime fight: Robert Easter Jr. versus Francis Barthélemy. No one cares, so moving on.
Oh.
May 4th, we have the return of Arthur Beterbiev on ESPN. This time, he's fighting Hot Rod Radivio Gladijic. I don't think I've ever seen him fight. I may have, but I don't really care. And May 4th, Chemo, over to you. The big DAZN Canelo Jacobs card.
Terrific.
You got the lube ready?
I mean, it's. I've got it ready, mate. It's one of those, it's one of those fights that actually captures that big moment feel. You know what I mean? Like it feels big, and it is big, and it's two guys that are at the top of the division that are fighting each other. And God damn it, man! Like I know, Leon, I know you're gonna be like moaning and shit in the background, but we talk about resumes. You know what I mean? Look at Canelo's resume, man. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Take away the tainted beef, right? Because I know that you're going to bring that shit up anyway. But
I didn't mention anything. Very aggressive, Chemo. Very aggressive.
How good is his... Me?
Yeah, very aggressive towards me. I think you should calm down.
Mate. Come on, can you not at least admit to me that his resume is just impeccable? It is one of the best resumes I've seen over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I'd say it's one of the most tainted as well. Because Jacobs better fucking knock him out because the scorecards are fucking already written up. Like this guy, you cannot beat him on points, so he better knock him out because he's toast on the cards.
I will give you that if you give me that He has basically fought the who's who.
He's fought people. He's taken some. He's like all fighters. He's had some good fights and some dog shit. Like some quite bad dog shit.
He's fought people, but he's fought everybody, man. Who hasn't he fought?
Yeah, I didn't say his resume's good, but there's. I mean, the problem is there's people. There's a lot of close fights on there. That's my issue with him is he's never. Like, he's fought really good guys, but he's never had that victory where you think, right, okay, he's separated himself from the people he's fighting. That's all. I just think some of his wins are tainted, that's all.
I think the second Golovkin fight really, really catapulted him for me into the stratosphere because the way he fought, the way he came forward, and the way he pushed back.
He gets extra credit. He gets extra credit from people because I think some people haven't liked him, so he gets more credit heaped on him because people had doubts about him.
Well, yes, but he also gets extra credit because he did it to Golovkin, right? Oh, the infamous Golovkin, blah 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 blah. He came forward and
full KH. Calm down.
I'm not going full KH, you know what I'm saying? But like it's just I don't know, man. Like to me, like he just keeps on fucking building and building and building. And I think when he's done, given how young he still is, he is a 100% Hall of Famer, man. Like that resume, I honestly tell me some other people that have had that kind of sustained level of elite opposition, man. Like honestly, like he is fantastic. I'm a big fucking fan, as you know, but he's fighting Daniel Jacobs now, man. He doesn't have to take this fight, you know what I mean?
Oh, brilliant! Well done. Well, fuck off. We don't use that's. See, that's what I mean. It's extra credit for we give people too much credit. Fighters too much credit for that shit.
Yes, it should be like that, Leon. But the reality is,
he's not getting any credit from me from that. Like no one. Look
at Tyson Fury, man. Look at he fought one good fight and then he fucked off again. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but they all do it. Like if he fights Wilder next after Tyson, that's just what Canelo does. He fights one good one, one bad one. That's what all guys do. I think we should. He's got a good resume, but I think it's there's other people who've had similar resumes. I think, he gets extra credit. Why are we being dragged into this?
Who has had better resumes? Give me an example.
Oh, fuck off. Are you being serious? You're saying that there isn't a list of fighters with resumes as good as him? We don't need to go into this fucking argument, Kimo.
Okay, I agree. We don't need to go down that argument, but I'm just saying he's fighting all of these guys more or less in their primes, right? Maybe with Golovkin there's a slight asterisk, but honestly, like Jacobs is a mature, it's a prime level guy.
Best fight of the year
excellent fight.
Yeah,
All right.
excellent fight. I'm really excited. I think it's a good fight.
All right, can I jump in? Like, can we move it on to the fight itself, though, Kimo? How do you see the fight playing out?
Honestly, man, I have a hard time predicting this fight. I think Jacobs is really good, and he's a lot better than I've always given him credit for. I think first of all, I think the blueprint for Jacobs is there on how to beat Canelo. I think he'll move, and I think he'll box, and the movement will give Canelo problems, right? The movement will make him struggle to cut off the ring, because that is one criticism that we've always had about Canelo. So that's one thing I definitely foresee happening. However, I think Canelo has become better and more aggressive when he really needs to be. He's shown, for example, in the last Golovkin fight that when he needs to switch it on, right? Instead of like hanging on the ropes and being a little bit passive and all that shit, he actually switched up the game plan and pressed the pace, and I was very impressed by that. And I think he's gonna hunt Jacobs down, but I don't think he's gonna hunt him down that successfully. I think it's gonna be a very close fight. And, I hate to say it, Leon, but I might see like Canelo edging a decision maybe. That's kind of what I thought.
There's no way anyone in their right mind would predict Jacobs to win on points. Like,
if I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet money on him.
Do that. Come on, bro. You would not expect Canelo to lose on points, would you? No one would, because he's good. But he's got that. He's got, it's not his fault. I don't think. There's no like envelopes and shit. But he's just got that. He's gained that status, right? That comes with when a fighter gets that level. So I think Jacobs is up against it from the beginning, because he's fighting a good guy. Plus, he's a big guy.
Mm.
But it's a big fight. It's going to be a good fight. But I think Canelo will win it on points.
What about you, Cam? How do you see this going?
Jacobs, Golovkin, I think I had Jacobs by 1 point. I think he can definitely do decent on the back foot. And if he makes maybe Canelo, try and walk him down, and he can just try and counter punch, because Canelo on the back foot is excellent. And counter punching, he's excellent. But coming forward, like, he wasn't really that... Even though he won quite clearly against Cotto, he never really looks good coming forward, so I think that's only Jacobs' option. But I don't know.
Jacobs hasn't looked great, has he, recently?
No, like, even against Selecki, there's kind of a close fight. The Derevyanchenko fight was kind of close. Like, I just can't see how he's going to beat Canelo, to be honest. I think Canelo, even coming forward, I think he wins quite convincingly, to be honest.
I think Jacobs might be a little undercooked, or something in that timing of that, what happened between his Golovkin fight, which I think a lot of us scored to him, to where we are now. It's just been not the greatest build-up for him.
Possibly.
But he might raise. But we said that about Golovkin, and he raised his performance.
I think he's definitely up for this fight, man.
So Jacobs if he can do that again, it could be a very good fight.
Jacobs might be one of those guys that fights down to his opponent's level as well. We don't know that, right? Let's see how he looks in this fight, because if anything, he has to be really fucking motivated, right? Like, this is his opportunity. He had his moment against Golovkin, and to be honest, he did really fucking well, and it could have gone his way. So I hope he realizes that in this fight, you can't half-ass it. You need to fucking put your stamp on the fight and go for it, man. Like, he needs to hurt Canelo.
Yeah, Canelo can definitely knock him out. Like, I think there's a chance for him to get to him. So he needs to put something on Canelo just to deter him enough. Because I think Canelo is the kind of fighter who thinks believes he can go and attack and box. So if you can hurt him or perturb him early on, you can get into the fight more, and Canelo might back off a bit and try and box a bit more.
He needs to get his respect early on.
Yeah. Because you know what I mean? Like, Alvarez thinks he is happy to try and drop off a bit, isn't he? If he thinks he can out tactically box people, So I think if you sting him, you know, it might work to your advantage.
So this fight is just over 3 weeks away. And me personally, I'm not really hyped about it. I probably will be the night of, or maybe like a few days leading up to it with weigh-ins and shit. But I don't know. Like even when it was made, like it wasn't.
Oh, come on, Cab, man!
It didn't tickle my fancy, as they say.
Oh, look,
What?
I'm not. You know, I'm not. This is a serious fight between two top-level guys. I don't think we can. Like Chemo said, Alvarez has fought all the people, and he's fighting a good guy here, and he should be. This fight should be happening, but it's a good fight. I think it's the best guy he can be fighting at the moment.
I think I've just never rated Jacobs that highly, and I kind of just like when he was with PBC, and they just kept talking about this Miracle Man shit. Like it just became repetitive and that, and I don't think he's really got that much personality, Jacobs, either, to be honest.
But if he puts on a performance like he did against Triple G, could be in for a real fucking. It could be, for me personally, you know, he might do it. He might beat him. So I think, you know, he's got as good a chance as anyone at the moment. Don't you think, Chemo?
I think he's arguably the second guy in the division, right? You can make an argument for that. If Canelo's basically number one,
I think
you can make an argument.
You can argue there's not much between all three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why would you not want to see this fight, Cam? I don't understand.
I don't know.
I can understand not getting hyped, maybe, but you know, come the night, you'll be like, yeah, this is good.
Definitely. That sometimes I like that, like 3 weeks out. I have to wait for the week off or the night off.
We think about, like, you know, we look at the fights that we've had this year, and when it comes to that Saturday night, you'll be thinking, oh, yeah, fuck, this is a great fight. You'll look back over the last 6 months and think, fucking, someone's delivering at least on paper.
Exactly.
Like, fucking,
or you can just fight.
Garcia was supposedly the biggest fight we've had. I mean, it's not even close.
Or you can just go back to fighting Rocky from Stocky, Cam, you know what I mean? But I'm happy we're going to get to see this.
Yeah, so I'd rather not be shitting on him than him do this all the time.
Fair enough. Undercard-wise, we got David Lemieux versus John Ryder at super middleweight. Really good fight.
Good fight.
Virgil Ortiz versus Mauricio Herrera. Is he still fighting? What the fuck?
No stop.
And some other people, who cares?
Oh, no. Don't ignore me.
Yeah, it's not.
Do you guys think Ryder's going to be competitive with Lemieux? I think he's going to get slept.
Yes, I find
he's a better boxer.
I find it difficult to predict that one because, like, yeah, I could see, like, you know, Ryder kind of outboxing Lemieux, but then I can also see Lemieux just cracking him with a big shot and just laying him out. Man, it's a difficult one.
But you want it to be a, you know, no disrespect to Ryder, but you want it to be a Lemieux knockout because he might be basically shit at boxing, but he has delivered some great knockouts. Like, he's worth watching because he might just spark him out like he's been shot. I'm
a big fan of Lemieux, man. I think he's great for fucking TV. I mean, he's shit the bed a few times, but otherwise, the dude is in fucking savage wars, and it always ends up with somebody sleeping on the canvas. So.
And proper sleeping, proper people.
Yeah, proper sleeping, man.
Yeah, not jumping ref stuff.
Dude, Lemieux is like the perfect undercard fighter. You don't match him up with an A-level guy. You match him up with a B, C-level guy, and those are always the ones where he will connect and he will probably lay them out.
Or he might drop him like 8 times. He might be getting outboxed, but he'll drop him like 8 times like he did against, what's his name, that French guy. Yeah.
He's given us some fantastic. The Stevens Curtis fight, mate, that is just fucking amazing. I loved it.
Oh, that shot he caught Mr. Mustache with as well recently in his fight. What's his name? The Irish dude.
Spike
O'Sullivan, yeah.
That was brutal as well.
You didn't know where it was.
Laid out.
Yeah, crazy. Crazy power. That's about it, guys. Hopefully we'll do a show after Jacobs Canelo, unless, you know, Chemo can't get any cover for the Camel Farm, or Leon, aka James Khan, can't escape from crazy Kathy Bates, aka Ruth. So fingers crossed.
I think you're painting a very harsh picture of Ruth.
I want
kidnap me.
I want you to play this for her just so she can have a laugh.
Fuck that. She'd be livid, but her name even being mentioned on this.
You guys got anything else? Because I'm pretty knackered now. I think we've done 3 hours and
I'm
15
done, man.
minutes, so 3 hours and 5 minutes, so I'm pretty knackered.
Yeah, same here.
Kimo,
talk out.
Kimo Puto, anything else?
Yeah, there was one thing I wanted to add. So Matchroom has just dropped a 50-minute documentary just now, literally while we were doing the show, on Conor Benn, and it is called 50 minutes, May. 50 minutes and 21 seconds, and it's called Born Fighter, Episode 1, Conor Benn. And it's a long interview, and there's all kinds of stuff happening, I think. Actually, no, it's just an interview. It's just a sit-down, and it's 50 minutes of Conor Benn. So,
bro, when you said 50,
over the edge.
bro, when you said 50, I thought you said 15, and that was long enough.
No, 5-0, mate.
Wow.
I'm looking at it right now. You know you're gonna watch it, mate, because you know there's a possibility that his dad will walk in and give him a little pecker on the lips, right? So you're gonna fucking watch that.
It'll get watched by someone, and if there's any gold in there, it'll get put down into little clips and put on Twitter. And because you know there'll be something, he'll say something ridiculous in that interview.
I know. Something about being great or something. I love it. I'm loving it already, and I haven't even started it.
Guys, you know how
You're going to watch that. He's definitely going to watch that straight away, Cam.
Guys, you know how we had the Fowler loss in 2019. Do you think we'll enjoy a Conor Benn loss in 2019?
Not quite as much, because I think he's just... I don't blame him as much as the Fowler thing's more deluded, I think.
It's the machine behind him, basically.
We've already seen that kind of Cam, you know what I mean, with the French guy.
Against Pena.
If he gets into he might get into some low-level wars. He could be fun, but he's just not very good. It's the fact we've been told he's going to be good when we can see he's not. Let him be free and just do who he was, right?
It's just deluded.
The first Cedric Pinot fight was fight of the decade already, and he already got found out there. So it's to me, like Leon said, I just want to see him in fun fights, man. I think he's great to watch, but the dude has no fucking talent to go to any sort of elite level. You know what I mean?
He's not said mental stuff like Fowler did about he's going to knock out Triple G when he's old and all that kind of madness, and then rabbit punching his way through the Olympics. It's not the same. They're not the same kind of thing. You might be a bit of an arrogant prick, but I think a lot of you would be, wouldn't you? I think being a Ben.
Agreed.
Anything
That's all for me,
I'm going to watch it, Timo. I'm definitely going to watch it now.
Yeah, of course you're going to watch it, man. You're a fucking fan, man. Don't even try to deny it. Ben is must-see TV.
Leon's a secret fan.
I don't think it's a secret, man.
I might watch
Everybody
that fight.
knows.
I might go back and watch that fight you're talking about, though, with the French guy.
Yeah, only because Ruth's not home. If she was home, you'd be
that's a good fight, though, isn't it?
You'd be upstairs.
Oh, the Cedric Pinot fight? Oh, it's great.
I might watch that now.
It's a fantastic fight.
It was actually
I'm going to watch it. I'm watching it.
The worst thing is Pena didn't win. That's the problem. He won that fight and then he didn't win it.
Have you noticed that, Kimo, that Sky Boxing YouTube channel? Have you seen that?
What?
And the fights are just on there for free now, a week later.
Yeah, but I think it's geo-locked. Kimo can't watch it.
Oh, you can't? Yeah, I don't give a fuck about.
But yeah,
Kimo.
I want to mention that. I think that's actually a good move because
they've tweaked, haven't they? It's right, fuck it, we might as well get the views and get the money because there'll be adverts on it.
Yeah, they'll get the revenue from YouTube. And at the end of the day, other people are posting their fights, so they might as well post them.
Yes, I'm behind that. I'm happy about that. I don't know if it's got a big history of fights. I'm going to go and look for that Conor Benn fight now.
No, I don't think they've kind of backlogged it, but just newer stuff, the cards that they're coming out. Like, for example, when we had the Fowler fight, the undercard fights were up maybe Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then the main two fights were up on Sunday afternoon. So it's not too far behind of when the cards happen, and in full 1080p HD, so you can't really complain.
It's on there. Our fight is on their boxing channel.
No, I was saying I've been posting backlog stuff.
Yeah, it's on there. Oh, let's stop this. I want to go and watch that fight.
HD, innit?
Oh, shit, sorry.
All right. Thank you, Leon. Thank you, Chemo. Thank you to all the people in the Mixler chat and all the people that download the show. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be back next month. But, if Leon and Chemo can be bothered. And that's about it. Thank you. We out. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
Oh, dude. Man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the number one flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically banging, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the show, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos a Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great. Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate.
You want one portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side?
But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you?
He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weighed for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition.